Part 222. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2212. Although Zhang Xiangbei was not going to take a bath outside, he still changed into his yukata. For no other reason than that, the street was full of people wearing yukata and clogs. Here, yukata and clogs were the formal attire. Wearing his own clothes made him look more elegant. Strange. Besides, this yukata and clogs are really comfortable to wear in the summer. Once a person is comfortable, it is not that easy to make oneself uncomfortable. I am not a veteran cotter. A veteran cotter should be either wearing pajamas or wearing hospital clothes. Uniforms, those two outfits and this yukata are similar. Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help but smile when he thought of this. He put his mobile phone and wallet into the cloth bag. The mobile phone could not solve all the problems here, and it was still a bit troublesome. Zhang Xiangbei thought of what Lao Qiao told him about the difficulties they had in promoting electronic payment. Zhang Xiangbei walked to the entrance of the lobby. The young man saw him coming out in a bathrobe and quickly brought a pair of clogs over. Zhang Xiangbei changed out of the hotel slippers. On the floor as you enter through the door, there are 4 rows of hotel slippers neatly arranged. The black ones are men's and the beige ones are women's. The pair Zhang Xiangbei just changed out of was cleaned and sprayed with disinfectant. Will be placed here. Every corner of this hotel was too clean, including the waiters' hygiene awareness. Zhang Xiangbei felt that people would feel a little ashamed of themselves here, always feeling that they were not clean enough. It was already June. At this time, it was already extremely hot in Hangzhou, but here, due to the high latitude, it didn't feel sweltering yet. Zhang Xiangbei walked for a long time without sweating. Zhang Xiangbei walked and sat around, and then he discovered the benefits of wearing wooden clogs. At the entrance of every outdoor hot spring on the street, there is a foot hot spot, a shallow pool with flowing hot springs inside. Sit down on the stool and soak your feet in the hot spring before walking. Pass by the number 1 spring in the sea next to Ichinoyu. This number 1 spring in the sea has a great name, but it is a square pavilion with a pool of hot spring water inside, which is also a foot hot spot. Zhang Xiangbei walked over and sat down, soaking his feet in the hot spring. After a while, 2 girls came over talking and laughing, one wearing glasses, and the other with a round face. They opened their mouths to Zhang Xiangbei. Surprised, both of them spoke Shanghainese. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Are you from Shanghai?" "Yes, what about you?" the one wearing glasses asked. Another person with a round face told Zhang Xiangbei that they were from Shanghai, but they did not come from China, but from Osaka, where they were studying. Zhang Xiangbei told them that he came from Hangzhou. "Are you alone?" asked the girl with glasses. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, he came with his classmates and he went back to Tokyo. "So miserable, abandoned?" the girl with glasses asked. Zhang Xiangbei laughed and said no, his classmate is Japanese and his hometown is here. He works in Tokyo and went back to work today. I have no classes to attend here and will return to China after a few days. The 2 men nodded and understood. Zhang Xiangbei sat with them and chatted a few words casually. The girl with glasses looked at her watch and said, "It's time, it's almost there." The 2 people stood up, Liao Liakeo and Zhang Xiangbei waved, and left in a hurry. Zhang Xiangbei didn't know what they were talking about. They probably had some friends who were arriving soon, and they were going to pick them up. Zhang Xiangbei sat alone and soaked for a while. Then he got up and continued to walk forward. When he reached the door of Liutang, he was surprised to see the 2 girls sitting at the door of Lutang. It's only around 2 o'clock now, and Lutang won't open until 3 o'clock. What are they doing sitting here? I didn't see anyone they picked up. The 2 girls also saw Zhang Xiangbei, their eyes lit up and they became active. They waved to him together. Zhang Xiangbei walked over and asked them what happened. The girl with glasses clasped her hands and bowed to him. Big brother, we are all Chinese, can you help me? What's wrong? Lost my wallet, Zhang Xiangbei asked. No, it's here, the round-faced girl said. The soup is served here, and the first customer who comes can get a wooden sign, but... Zhang Xiangbei understood. It turned out that they were about to arrive when they said they were about to arrive. They were talking about the door here being opened. When opening the door, they would give out a wooden sign. They could only give out 2 yuan a day, and they were a man and a woman. They were 2 people. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "Do you want me to help you get the men's sign?" "You know," asked the girl with glasses. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Yes, okay, I'll wait with you." Both girls laughed and quickly said thank you. The 3 of them continued chatting, and the 2 girls told Zhang Xiangbei that they often took a bus from Osaka to come here. It was very close. In addition to soaking in hot springs, they came here to collect the brands of 7 foreign hot springs, and they had already collected 4. Ichinoyu already has 1, right? Zhang Xiangbei said. How do you know? The round-faced girl asked. Zhang Xiangbei said, if not, you would have been sitting by the Ichinoyu. Instead of waiting at the Ichinoyu, why don't you come here? The 2 girls were laughing. At about 2:50, someone came to open the door. 3 people stood up. The person who opened the door looked at them and knew that they were waiting for the sign. He opened the door. Although the time was not up, he still gave them the sign. The 2 girls scanned the code to enter the hot spring. Zhang Xiangbei said goodbye to them, turned around and walked out. Zhang Xiangbei remembered the beef restaurant he saw last night that specialized in Tajima beef, and decided to check it out again. He couldn't remember whether the store was on that side of the river or this side. It didn't matter. This street is not long, just look for it. Zhang Xiangbei walked for more than 10 minutes before he found this store with the Tajima beef sign on the door and named it Ueda the beef maker. Zhang Xiangbei didn't know if the owner of this store was named Ueda. Zhang Xiangbei walked in. The boss was a small middle-aged man wearing glasses and wearing a transparent plastic apron. When he saw Zhang Xiangbei come in, he greeted him warmly. Zhang Xiangbei was afraid that he would misunderstand, so he immediately explained to him that he was a tourist and did not buy beef. He was just interested in beef and came in to take a look. Unexpectedly, the boss actually knew him and said with a smile, I know, you were here with Hashimoto-chan last night. Zhang Xiangbei quickly said yes. The boss speaks broken English, but fortunately Zhang Xiangbei's English is good, and he has a pair of ears that have been influenced by the English of Koreans, Japanese, and Indians. He specializes in treating various difficult and complicated diseases. Listen to what he says in English. If you listen, guess, and make up your own mind, there will be no problem at all. The boss pointed at the pieces of meat inside the glass counter and introduced to Zhang Xiangbei which parts of the cow they were. The boss said that the meat from different parts of the same cow has different quality. They use plum, bamboo, pine, and rattan to represent the grades. Rattan grade is the highest, and the meat on the chest and back is the best. Rattan grade meat comes from these 2. In this place, a cow weighing about 500 kilograms usually only has 5 or 6 kilograms of rattan grade meat. Zhang Xiangbei thought about whether the plum meat of pigs, that is, the meat on the neck, has anything to do with this. Only Cantonese people like to use pork plums to make barbecued pork and charcoal grilled pork neck. Zhouji Bao, in other places in China, it is considered to be relatively poor meat. The boss is indeed from the Ueda family. Ueda and Zhang Xiangbei said that before the Edo period, Tajima cattle were mainly used as draft cattle for farming and transportation. Because of their strong reproductive capacity, a Tajima cattle population was formed, and it was also popular in the foster father market. A cattle market was established in the current Yabu city, and many people in Kenai and surrounding areas were engaged in the Tajima cattle business, as were his ancestors. In the early Meiji period, in order to improve the breed, draft cattle were improved into meat cattle. Tajima cattle were crossed with foreign breeds, making the originally thin Tajima cattle taller. However, unexpectedly, the quality of the cattle's meat also deteriorated. This improvement failed. The locals believed that only by mating with purebred Tajima cattle could they produce cattle with excellent meat quality, but at that time, it was already difficult to find purebred bulls. Until a local cattle breeder named Tajiri Shozo bred a bull named Tajiri Hao. In more than 12 years, Tajiri Hao bred nearly 1,500 bulls with Tajiri Hao through natural mating. Cattle from the Tajiri lineage have amazing reproductive capabilities. Tajiri Hao not only has strong reproductive capabilities, but also has excellent genetics related to meat quality. It can be said that the origin of the world's proud Wagyu beef is Tajiri Hao. Tajiri is still the best bloodline among Tajima cattle. In the 31st year of Meiji, a household registration system was established for Tajima cattle to purify and improve the bloodline. Breeders must have a certificate issued by the government to be qualified to raise Kuroge Wagyu. Every calf born will be issued a cattle registration by the government certificate, listing the bloodline and stamping the nose. Tajima beef has good qualifications and meat quality, and has become the source of Japan's three major Wagyu beef, Matsusaka beef, Kobe beef, and Omi beef. Speaking of Kobe beef, Ueda said that not all Tajima cattle are Kobe cattle. Only the best Tajima cattle can be recognized as Kobe beef after being graded. There are only about 3,000 Kobe cattle every year. Like them, this kind of store only has Tajima beef, not Kobe beef. Kobe beef is graded and auctioned at the central wholesale market. Is there such a market here in Toyooka? Zhang Xiangbei asked. No, there are only 4 in the country, and the central wholesale market in Kobe City is the largest, Ueda and Zhang Xiangbei said. The two of them were chatting and looking at the beef on the counter. Zhang Xiangbei drooled and felt hungry. Then he remembered that he said he came out for lunch, but it was already past 4 o'clock and he hadn't even eaten lunch. Zhang Xiangbei asked Ueda, and Ueda told him that he basically supplies the beef in the town, and the freshness and meat quality are guaranteed. He wrote an address to Zhang Xiangbei, drew a route map, and recommended to him that this store's beef was better. Zhang Xiangbei took the road map and looked for it, and found that it was the same store he had seen last night, with a large Matsuba crab model crawling on the facade wall made of wooden strips outside. Zhang Xiangbei walked to the door of the store. By coincidence, he saw the 2 Shanghai girls coming over, chatting and laughing. Their hair was wet. They had obviously just come out of Liuyutang. When the 2 of them saw Zhang Xiangbei, they also laughed. The girl with glasses said, "Are you just walking on the street alone?" Zhang Xiangbei said, "Yes, nothing happened anyway." By the way, Zhang Xiangbei said, "You are all Chinese, let me treat you to beef." The 2 girls looked at each other, and the girl with glasses said, "Just eat, who is afraid of you?" Zhang Xiangbei laughed, he said, "Yes, I won't eat you anyway." The 3 of them went into the store. In summer, there are no Matsuba crabs in the stores that sell Matsuba crabs. The main dish is Tajima beef. Zhang Xiangbei handed the menu to the 2 girls and said to them, "Just be casual, don't be polite." The 2 people laughed, and the girl with glasses said, "We came in, and we didn't want to save you money." "Thank you W, it's UW, Fang Xiaoluo, GH 7777, Shachin Mood, Huaxin Yongxiao, Zixi Zi, Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48, Daos Hung 123, forgot the password and come again, Lao Shen Zisang, Book Friends 202110010016192272, Book Friend 201701052133115338S monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2213. The three of them entered the store and sat down. Zhang Xiangbei asked the two girls to order and told them not to keep their word and not to let me go. The two girls laughed and agreed. After all, the two girls have been studying and living in Japan for a long time. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the menu and was a little confused. Each one of them was in Japanese like an earthworm. Zhang Xiangbei didn't know what it was. They knew that they were more familiar with Japanese food than Zhang Xiangbei. Based on experience, the two of them quickly ordered the dishes, mainly roast beef, and also ordered other dishes. Between beer and rice wine, they ordered rice wine for Zhang Xiangbei. When Zhang Xiangbei drank it, it was actually like white wine mixed with water. Not to mention it was bland and had no alcoholic taste. They ordered plum wine for themselves. Everything was done amidst the laughter of the two girls, which made Zhang Xiangbei infected by them and felt very happy, as if a space that had been deserted for a long time suddenly opened the window and let the sunlight shine in. Zhang Xiangbei looked at his watch. It was almost 5 o'clock. He thought that the dinner he had asked them to prepare at the West Village house was for 6 o'clock. After eating here, it was almost that time, and he was still eating. Japanese food, even if you eat it alone, has to be prepared for you for a long time. Zhang Xiangbei immediately picked up the phone and called Lao Jiao and told him, "I'm sorry, I met two fellow villagers outside, and we were together. Eating on the street, not going back to the hotel, there is no need to prepare dinner for him." When Zhang Xiangbei and Lao Jiao were talking on the phone, the two girls stopped and looked at him. They didn't know if they were afraid that the noise would be too loud and disturb Zhang Xiangbei's call, or if they were just listening to his call. When Zhang Xiangbei hung up the phone, the girl with glasses said, "Are you stupid? There is free dinner in the hotel. If you don't eat it, it's free. If you don't go back to eat, you have to spend more money here." Zhang Xiangbei chuckled, "Isn't this what I want to invite you to?" The round-faced girl said, "You can also take us back to the hotel and invite us to eat together." Zhang Xiangbei could only say, "The food in the hotel is not delicious." "Which hotel are you staying in?" asked the girl with eyes. Zhang Xiangbei said, "It's a very crappy small hotel. I don't know. I booked it on trip. I can't remember the Japanese name, and I can't tell it. By the way, which hotel are you staying at?" "We are not that stupid to spend that money," said the girl with glasses. They told Zhang Xiangbei that every time they came here, they would take the train from Osaka in the morning to get the wooden sign when the hot springs opened. Then they would soak in hot springs and go shopping. They would spend the whole night in the hot springs and streets. After that, we took the train back to Osaka early the next morning. In fact, you can go back to Osaka on the same day, but since you have bought the ticket, you don't have to soak in the hot springs enough. Do you think this arrangement is the most economical and cost-effective?" Zhang Xiangbei thought of a question and asked, "If you don't stay in a hotel, how can you enter the hot spring without the barcode?" "Buy tickets. You can also buy tickets for hot springs. You can buy a pass, which is a joint ticket that can enter all hot springs. You can also buy a separate ticket for a hot spring. We buy separate tickets each time. If you have a pass, you can actually buy a ticket. There is no way to get through. There are at most 6 houses, and one of them is always resting. Dividing by 6 is not cost-effective. Besides, we don't need to visit so many houses at one time, so we can go slowly one by one." After the girl with glasses finished speaking, the round-faced girl added, "Anyway, I bought a ticket. There is no limit to the number of times. We can come in and out. When we are tired, we can go out for a walk. When we are tired, we can go in for a swim." Zhang Xiangbei laughed and praised them, "They really know how to live." Of course, the girl with glasses said, "We all earn the money by working in the convenience store, so how could it not be considered a waste?" "You still work? Aren't you afraid of being arrested as illegal workers?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. He remembered that at Yale, selling vegetables was like a thief, and the same was true for his classmates who worked part-time. What are you arresting? Japan encourages international students to work to earn tuition and living expenses. They told us when we were at the Shanghai consulate, said the girl with glasses. Is your name Zhang Xiangbei? The round-faced girl looked at her phone and asked suddenly. Zhang Xiangbei was stunned for a moment and quickly said no. He said no, look. The round-faced girl showed her cell phone to Zhang Xiangbei. It turned out that the round-faced girl had taken the photo at some point and sent it to WeChat Moments, saying, I met a generous and handsome guy and we are treating him like a pig to death. Someone below said, hey, this person seems to be Zhang Xiangbei, the second generation of rich people, the original boss of Zai Xianshui, you guys want to kill him hard. The girl with glasses took the round-faced girl's mobile phone, looked at the circle of friends, and searched for Zhang Xiangbei on Baidu. A lot of introductions popped up. She clicked on a photo to take a look, then looked at Zhang Xiangbei and asked. Are you really not him? No, my surname is Guo, and my name is Guo Chenglei. Do you want me to show it to you? Oops, my ID card and passport are in the hotel and I didn't bring them out, Zhang Xiangbei said. The girl with glasses said, forget it, it doesn't matter if you are, but you really look like him. If you pretend to be him, you don't need to put on makeup. Zhang Xiangbei laughed and asked, why should I pretend to be someone else? Okay, I guess you're not him either, the girl with glasses said. Why? Zhang Xiangbei asked. You don't look like that. Oh, I can't tell, it's not, the girl with glasses said. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, that's right, I'm just a poor guy, not a rich second generation at all. You are not poor, I can see that, the girl with glasses said, you are still relatively well off. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and stopped denying it. This topic immediately turned around and they picked up other topics. Seeing that he was almost finished eating, Zhang Xiangbei said he was going to the bathroom, then went to the bar and bought the order. He was afraid that the two girls would see him when he swiped his card. Needless to say, when they saw his I couldn't hide the ICBC American Express Centurion Black Gold card from me, it was too embarrassing. The three of them left the hotel and continued shopping. Zhang Xiangbei treated them to ice cream, and then sat and chatted under the weeping willows on the edge of Daxi River. When it started to get dark and the two sides of the river were even brighter than during the day, the two of them, a girl told Zhang Xiangbei that they wanted to go back to Liuyutang and continue bathing. The three of them said goodbye and added each other on WeChat. The girl with glasses said to Zhang Xiangbei, if you have no place to hang out, come to Osaka to come and play with us. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said yes, but he may not have the chance this time, so I will treat you to dinner again when you return to Shanghai. When you go back to Shanghai, we treat you to dinner. When you go to Hangzhou, you treat us to dinner, the girl with glasses said. Please eat Yangchun noodles, the round-faced girl said, and both of them giggled. After they left, Zhang Xiangbei was still sitting alone on the railing of the stone bridge. Only then did he remember that they all knew that his name was Guo Chenglei, but he didn't even know their names. He thought again that at this time, Guo Chenglei must be working on a farm in Ningxia, sweating like rain, supervising people loading trucks. He didn't know that another Guo Chenglei had already arrived in Japan, Kinosaki, and this hot spring. Street. Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help laughing when he thought of this. Zhang Xiangbei wandered into the beef craftsman Yudian again. Seeing Ueda inside, he went in and told him that he had just eaten at the store he introduced and their beef was really delicious. Ueda was very happy to hear this, and the two chatted for a while. Two people came in to buy beef. Ueda had to go to work. Zhang Xiangbei said goodbye to him and walked out. Zhang Xiangbei walked aimlessly, and when he realized it, he realized that he had almost reached the door of the West Village house. At this point, the street began to become a little lonely, but there were still people wearing yukata and carrying bags and baskets walking around here. Zhang Xiangbei thought to himself that there might be an outdoor hot spring here. When he passed the Nishimura house, there was no. Instead of going in, I continued walking forward until I reached a three-way intersection. When I saw the street sign, I realized that Hongnou was entered from here. Those wearing yukata turned out to be visiting convoyu. What surprised Zhang Xiangbei was that at this intersection, he also saw the street sign for West Village House. He looked carefully and saw that it was West Village House Zhaoyuding. Zhang Xiangbei remembered that Lao Qiao had told him yesterday, what about the Nishimura main building and its branch? This Zayazuki garden is probably the branch. Zhang Xiangbei was very curious, so he walked into this road and passed Hongjiu, a solitary Japanese-style house standing at the foot of the mountain, opposite the cable car station at the top of Shangshishi Mountain. Lao Qiao told Zhang Xiangbei, however, he said that the top of Master Mountain was so beautiful. Michelin recognized it and told him to go up and have a look. Zhang Xiangbei decided to go up and have a look tomorrow during the day. Zhang Xiangbei continued walking inside. After walking for 5 or 6 minutes, he saw a very modern building on the left side of the road. This is the West Village House Zhaoyuding. Zhang Xiangbei walked into the lobby of the hotel and found that it was a Western-style building. In the hotel, the lobby floor was made of marble and carpet. Zhang Xiangbei walked in wearing wooden clogs without changing his shoes. "Brother," someone shouted in Chinese. Zhang Xiangbei turned around and saw that it was Lao Qiao. The two of them laughed, and Zhang Xiangbei understood that Lao Qiao was not only the general manager of the Nishimura House main building, but also the general manager of this place. That's why he appeared there and then here. Anyway, these are all in their family's business. Lao Qiao is a typical rich second generation or several generations. Nishimura main building is a classic Japanese ancient building. Everything there maintains Japanese characteristics, but after all, not everyone likes tatami mats and the kneeling service of female generals, so this is a completely modern garden style hotel. Zhang Xiangbei said to Lao Qiao, "I saw a street sign and a West Village house, so I came over to take a look." Lao Qiao smiled and nodded, and asked Zhang Xiangbei if he wanted to visit, and Zhang Xiangbei said yes. Lao Qiao let Zhang Xiangbei to visit. There was a formal swimming pool in the garden, a Western restaurant on the second floor, and the room upstairs, just as Zhang Xiangbei thought, was not a tatami, but a Simmons bed, but the room was still so big that it was empty. Lao Qiao let Zhang Xiangbei out of the gate, got on a battery car, and drove along a path toward the mountains. Lao Qiao and Zhang Xiangbei said that this area covers an area of 160,000 square meters and is a hot spring hotel with kinosaki. The Seven Soups. Zhang Xiangbei understood that this outside was not the outside of Weitang, but the way of outside the town. The 7 Weitangs corresponded to the 7 Weitangs in the town. Between the mountains and streams, there are pavilions with wooden pillars and straw roofs. Inside the pavilions are hot spring pools, as well as open-air hot springs and indoor hot springs outside the pavilions. The landscape decorated with lights outside the glass is pleasing to the eye. If it is daytime, you can definitely see the lush greenery and gurgling streams outside. There are also 3 semi-open-air hot springs, half of which are hot springs, and half of which are places for guests and rest. They are equipped with sofas, tea rooms, and coffee machines. Although the hot springs are inside the building, the side close to the mountains and forests is completely open. Yes, there is no cover. Soaking in such a hot spring pool feels almost like being in the open air. Lao Qiao and Zhang Xiangbei said that Weikatang is a public hot spring. These semi-open hot springs can be rented. Some companies and families welcome such hot springs. Zhang Xiangbei thought that it would be great if he was still delivering fresh food at home and bringing everyone here to do team building. Thinking of this, Zhang Xiangbei felt a little sad. Thank you to Brokeback Mountain, Doll Tin Soldier, third from top to bottom, flipping through books every day, and the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Zipanjiang 1, Little Janitor, Wind and Wing, Fang Feng, Tiger Dazzles the World, Far Stream, Deep Road, Favorite Go To, Big Brother, Can I Not Want It, Zixi Mr. SGN, Administrator of the 3rd floor of the library, monthly passes for book friends 201906251314108862, book friends 1604031635311329, and book friends 0910261531555820. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2214. Zhang Xiangbei said goodbye to Lao Xiao, walked out onto the road, and saw another building diagonally opposite. Judging from the shape of the building, it should be some kind of public facility, an exhibition hall or a conference center. Zhang Xiangbei walked over and found that it was KIEC, Kinosaki International Art Center. In such a small town, what kind of international art center is there? Who will provide art? Zhang Xiangbei was very curious. He took out his mobile phone and searched Baidu. He was shocked. He didn't expect that KIEC was famous. Zhang Xiangbei saw an introduction saying that Kirosaki International Art Center, KIEC, is a residential creative activity facility. All stage artists and art groups around the world can apply to them. After the application is approved, they can, if you stay here for 3 days to 3 months, you can use the theater, studios, and accommodation facilities here for free 24 hours a day. Miki Taguchi is also the curator of Kinosaki International Art Center, and playwright and director Orisa Hirata is the artistic director here. The drama Metamorphosis, which caused a sensation in the past few years and toured Beijing and Shanghai, was choreographed here and directed by Orisa Hirata. This play is based on Kafka's novel The Metamorphosis and is co-produced by the Youth Troupe, a heavyweight theater company in Japan's small theater industry, and Osaka University, which has made outstanding achievements in cutting-edge robotics research. The play has attracted everyone's attention because the protagonist Gregor is played by a humanoid robot developed by Osaka University professor Hiroshi Ishijiro. Several French actors played Gregor's parents and sister respectively. In September 2014, they conducted a month-long rehearsal at the Kinosaki International Art Center. After previewing in Japan, they performed in Normandy and across Europe as an exhibit at the Normandy Autumn Art Festival in France that year. Taguchi Mikiya and Hirata Orisa still have 2 major things to do. First, they are currently preparing to build an international tourism arts university here. This is a prefectural university in Hyogo Prefecture, which mainly cultivates talents in drama. Another thing is that they are planning to hold an international theater festival based on Kinosaki International Art Center KIEC, striving to make Toyooka City the largest international theater festival in the world, comparable to the Avignon Theater Festival in France. There was no performance in the art center today, but the lights inside were on. Zhang Xiangbei walked in. He found that the art center was actually composed of 2 parts. One part was 2 open event venues, each with more than 300 square meters. He saw when we arrived at one of them, many local children were lying on the ground scribbling. There is also a hall with a few young people rehearsing hip-hop dance at one end, and a few young people rehearsing a drama at the other end. The 2 groups of people are focusing on their own things and not disturbing each other. Another part of the art center is a theater. The theater is not small, with 1,000 seats. On the stage in front, there are art groups from Europe rehearsing a program. Zhang Xiangbei walked in and sat down on the seats below. And no one cared about him. He looked at it for a while, but didn't see the reason, got up and left, and no one cared about him. This is really a place of freedom. No wonder it is said that artists staying here have no restrictions and can rehearse their own shows 24 hours a day. Walking outside, Zhang Xiangbei thought of one thing. Isn't this the goal of Xiangnan and the others? The Yongchengwu Opera Troupe now has the Yongcheng Center and the Yongcheng International Street Theater Festival. If the student class, if it expands further, wouldn't it also be able to become a school? What others can do here, Xiangnan can also do in Yongcheng. Zhang Xiangbei feels that it is best to let Xiangnan come here to have a look. If possible, it is best to bring the team here to rehearse new plays. This it is an encouragement to the team, and it can also be used as a stepping stone for Xiangnan. Zhang Xiangbei has thought about it. When he gets up tomorrow morning, the first thing he will do is come here. When Zhang Xiangbei returned to the hotel, it was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. The female general had helped him make a bed on the tatami. Zhang Xiangbei took off his bathrobe and went to the hot spring outside and soaked his body in the pool. And then dialed Xiangnan's number. Zhang Xiangbei told Xiangnan about the Kinosaki International Art Center, and also sent her the photos he had just taken with his mobile phone. The next morning, Zhang Xiangbei got up and went to soak in the hot spring. When he came back, the female general had already tidied up his bed. The mattress and bedding with quilt covers and pillowcases had been put into the cabinet. The room was empty and tidy again. Breakfast has been laid out on the long table. The breakfast is very rich. The amount of each food is not large, but there are many varieties. The table is full, with about a dozen kinds. Zhang Xiangbei was eating alone, and the female general knelt beside him to serve him. This made Zhang Xiangbei very unbearable. He really wanted to ask her out, but he thought that not letting her serve would probably be unfair to her. Insult, then give up. But when I'm having breakfast, I can't stand the sight of people around me, and there are still people serving me, so what's the point? Zhang Xiangbei speeded up, but the faster he ate, the female general felt that he was not full yet, and kept bringing new food, which made Zhang Xiangbei dumbfounded. He could only slow down and talk to the female general. Say, I've eaten too much, I'm full, thank you. The female general then started to clean up, and after a while, everything was evacuated from the room. After enjoying such meticulous service, Zhang Xiangbei not only did not feel satisfied, but also made up his mind. Next time he comes again, he must go to the West Village House Zhaoyuding. I can't live here anymore. I am young and have the skills. My feet can't bear it. I had something to talk about when I went out today. Zhang Xiangbei did not wear a bathrobe, but wore his own t-shirt and a pair of frayed casual pants when he went out. When he arrived in the lobby, the young man at the door saw him and disappeared in a flash. Waiting for Zhang Xiangbei, when Xiangbei walked to the door, he had already brought Zhang Xiangbei's leather shoes over. Zhang Xiangbei walked out of the Nishimura house and went to the Kinosaki International Art Center. He asked the staff on the first floor. Today, the artistic director Hirata Orisa was not there, but the curator Miki Taguchi was also there. The staff enthusiastically led him up to the second floor and to the curator's office. Miki Taguchi was about the same age as Zhang Xiangbei's father. He had a bald head, glasses, and a goatee on his chin. Not knowing who Zhang Xiangbei was, Taguchi Miki also stood up and came over to shake hands with Zhang Xiangbei warmly, which made Zhang Xiangbei a little confused. He later told Zhang Xiangbei that I like strangers and uninvited guests the most, because they will always bring you information about another world that you are unfamiliar with, and they will always bring surprises. The two people exchanged business cards and were stunned for a moment when they held each other's business cards. Zhang Xiangbei saw that on Taguchi Mikiya's business card, one side was printed with the 4 Chinese characters "Specialize in Nosy" written with a brush, and the reverse was Jozaki International Art Mikiya Taguchi, director of Kiak Center. Taguchi Mian also looked at Zhang Xiangbei's business card. Zhang Xiangbei didn't have a new business card, and there was nothing to print on the new business card. His business card was still the original Zaixian Shui business card, but he just changed the company name of Zaixian Shui and the chairman made a mark with a pen. Taguchi also held it. He didn't know what was going on. Zhang Xiangbei explained. I have already left this company. On my business card, only my mobile phone is correct. Taguchi Miki also smiled and understood. Zhang Xiangbei and Miki Taguchi said that their visit to him today had nothing to do with Zai Xianxiao. They were entrusted by the Yongchengwu opera troupe to discuss cooperation with him. What surprised Zhang Xiangbei was that Miki Taguchi not only knew Yongchengwu opera troupe and Yongcheng, but also knew Xiangnan. It turned out that he had been to Yongcheng when the second Yongcheng World Street Theatre Festival was held. Just not as an invited guest, but because he saw the news online and ran over to watch it. He felt that the Yongcheng International Street Theatre Festival was well done. In Yongcheng, of course he had seen the performance of the Yongchengwu troupe, the organizer of the drama festival, and was deeply impressed by Xiangnan. When Xiangnan came to Tokyo to perform, he saw the poster in the newspaper and made a special trip to Tokyo to see it. Her show. With such a fate, the next thing was very simple. Zhang Xiangbei opened WeChat and asked Xiangnan to video record with Miki Taguchi, who acted as the translator. Then, Zhang Xiangbei represented Yongchengwu Opera Troupe and Yongcheng Center, and soon established an exchange and cooperation relationship with Kinosaki International Art Center Kiek. The two parties agreed that the Yongchengwu Opera Troupe will come here every year to rehearse new plays and perform for a month. Kinosaki International Art Center Kiek will also send performance groups to Yongcheng to rehearse and perform. Zhang Xiangbei was at Kinosaki International Art Center Kiek, and Miki Taguchi also had lunch with him, visited their art center, and then prepared to leave. Miki Taguchi also heard that Zhang Xiangbei was going to the top of Master Mountain, so he volunteered to accompany Zhang going north. Zhang Xiangbei said it didn't have to be so hard, and Taguchi Mian also said, "Why is it so hard? Have you forgotten what was written on my business card?" Of course I didn't forget that he was just minding other people's business. Accompanying someone to climb a mountain was really just a nosy matter. Zhang Xiangzi laughed loudly and went out with Miki Taguchi. Taguchi Miki and Zhang Xiangbei said that the reason why it is called Master Mountain is because the founder of Kinosaki Hot Spring, Dochi Master, was the founder of Kinosaki Hot Spring. In the 8th century AD, he established a hot spring temple here, which is also the name of Kinosaki Hot Spring. The main hall of Onsenji Temple was built in 1837 at the beginning of Kaikan. It is the oldest wooden structure in Tajima. The cable car we are going to take will have a stop in the middle, which is the hot spring temple. Taguchi Miki and Zhang Xiangbei said. Thank you. Zi Zhang said, ABC 19791205, Nalan 18, Luo Wu Chen Yi Hua Yi Shi Shi, Ben Where, Take a Look at Leisure, Lingzi in the Lake, Guandian Electromechanical, Why Can't I Change My Name, Favorite Go To, Book Friends 2018052311285765, Book Friend 201805121221105118 Monthly Pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2215. Taguchi Miki also led Zhang Xiangbei to the small square at the Master Mountain cable car station. The cable car runs every 15 minutes. The small square is also the entrance to the medicine hall. Taguchi Miki also told Zhang Xiangbei that if he didn't want to wait for the cable car, you can go up from a mountain road behind the medicine hall. As soon as he finished speaking, he said it was better to wait. He was wearing a pair of wooden clogs. No matter how good his feet were, climbing a mountain in wooden clogs was still a hard task. There was a pool in the small square. There was a circle of pebbles on the edge of the pool, which was used as a stool. Taguchi also sat down and put his feet into the pool. He looked at Zhang Xiangbei, his goatee trembling all the time. Zhang Xiangbei knew that he was laughing at himself because he was dressed too seriously. Zhang Xiangbei thought to himself, didn't I come here just to see you? If I had known you were so crooked, I wouldn't have needed to be so deliberate. Taguchi Miki also asked Zhang Xiangbei to sit down, as if he knew what he was thinking, and said, when we get to Kinosaki, there will be no serious people left. After saying that, he and Zhang Xiangbei laughed together. Zhang Xiangbei also sat down on the pebbles, but he had to take off his shoes and socks to catch the cable car later. His wet feet were too troublesome to deal with, so he didn't soak his feet, but sat with his back to the pool. Not far from them is the Motoyu. This Motoyu is the first hot spring in Kinosaki. It emerges from under a rock and flows into a pool on the side. The pool is covered with a wooden lattice. The temperature of the hot spring water inside is very high. Tourists buy eggs, put them in plastic bags, hang them in and soak them in the water. After a while, they can peel off the egg shells and eat them. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the medicine hall, then at the Yuan Tang, and understood that the monks more than 1,000 years ago treated people, probably by letting the patients soak their bodies and feet in the hot springs. Regardless of the religion, if you want to gain everyone's trust, you always start by treating people's illnesses. Monks do this, Taoist priests do this, missionaries first came to China to preach like this, and now they are preaching in Africa. There is also a bronze statue standing in the square, with a bag slung across its body and a trumpet hanging on its chest. It looks dusty. Zhang Xiangbei asked Miki Yataguchi, and he told Zhang Xiangbei that this was Mr. Nishimura. It turns out that this is Lao Jiao's ancestor, the earliest builder of Nishimura House, the mayor who led everyone to rebuild the hot spring town after the 1925 northern Tajima earthquake. The cable car came, and Mr. Taguchi also led Zhang Xiangbei to take the cable car. Zhang Xiangbei wanted to buy a ticket, but Mr. Taguchi also said, no need to buy it. It was obvious that he was a celebrity in this town and everyone knew him. When the cable car driver saw him, he let them into the cable car without asking. Master Mountain is not high, and the cable car stops at 2 stations. The station halfway up the mountain is the hot spring temple. Zhang Xiangbei and Taguchi Miki also got off the car in the middle, and the cable car continued to go up to the top of the mountain. The two of them arrived at the hot spring temple. The building of the hot spring temple looked very old. Miki Taguchi was also beside Zhang Xiangbei, introducing him endlessly. From what Master Daiji said to the main hall of the hot spring temple, Zhang Xiangbei listened half of it. And half of it slipped past his ears. He had no interest in temples, churches, or anything else, whether at home or abroad. For a person like Zhang Xiangbei who likes practicality, he feels that any religion is an inner demon. There is no theory of good and evil. All teachings are just a way to control people by taking advantage of their weaknesses. Catholicism, when conflicts broke out between Islam and the Orthodox Church, including the Puritans of our own religion, who was ever soft-hearted? Zhang Xiangbei came here just to go to the top of the mountain to see the scenery, but he was led to this ruined temple by this nosy Japanese. Although Zhang Xiangbei was not impressed by the enthusiasm of others to meddle in other people's business, he could only pretend to listen with interest. He heard that the beams of this temple seemed to come from the same tree as the beams of some temple in Kyoto. He also heard that Toyotomi Hideyoshi had been here. Zhang Xiangbei almost laughed. He feels that Toyotomi Hideyoshi is like message to the Japanese. They like to involve him in everything. It seems that as long as he is involved, he will become taller. However, this is not only the case for the Japanese, but also for the country. There is more message, and even Panjinlian is grabbing this place and that place, saying that he is from here. The two of them continued to go up the mountain. When they reached the top of the mountain, Zhang Xiangbei was a little disappointed. Maybe his expectations were too high. When he got here, what he saw was nothing more than that. The top of the mountain is a flat piece of land. Standing here, you can see the Sea of Japan and the entire town of Kinosaki. It cannot be said that it is not beautiful, but at least it is not the most beautiful. It is not as good as Zhangjiangbei's view from the top of Yellowstone Park Sanya, on the platform of the villa on the top of the mountain, overlooking the World Tropical Botanical Garden below. Zhangjiangbei felt that it was not even comparable to the countryside of Yongcheng. He climbed to the top of the mountain in Daikenjiayuan and looked at the green bamboo forest below. When the wind blew over, the entire bamboo forest swayed and the bamboo leaves stood up, revealing the white bottom underneath. After the wind passed by, the pieces fell down again, as if layers of waves were spreading. In fact, as long as you are at a high place and filter out all the details, everything will look beautiful. Even if you stand on Monte Cristo in Rio de Janeiro and look at the slums below, it will look beautiful and colorful. Miki Yataguchi told Zhangjiangbei that the mountain top view here was recognized by Michelin. It seems that this Michelin is also message, and it is message that has an increasingly coppery smell. There is actually nothing to do on the top of the mountain. In a corner of the flat ground, there is a human-shaped stand of a man and a woman wearing kimonos, with their faces hollowed out. This is for tourists to embed their faces inside and take photos. This is a bit vulgar. Under a big tree, there is a row of small Buddha statues. Opposite is a tomb. Zhangjiangbei's first thought was that Mr. Nishimura was buried here. When he took a closer look, he couldn't help but laugh. It turned out to be the tomb of a pine-leaf crab. Kinosaki people probably eat too many matsuba crabs every year, and they feel embarrassed, so they build a tomb here to commemorate it. The logic in this is very absurd. Zhangjiangbei feels that it is like Americans eating turkeys on Thanksgiving, and the President of the United States pardoning 2 turkeys on Thanksgiving and setting them free. The history of Americans eating turkey originated in 1620. At that time, a group of British Puritans who advocated religious reform could not stand the pursuit and persecution of their rulers and fled by boat. They wandered at sea for 65 days. Finally arrived at the port of Provincetown, now Rhode Island. At that time, it was winter in North America, and the place where they landed was desolate. Not only were these Puritans hungry and cold, but they were also attacked by wild beasts. The living environment was extremely harsh. When they were on the verge of death, the local indigenous Indians gave them turkeys he had hunted as food and helped them build new homes. The turkey came to them in their time of crisis, allowing them to continue their lives and take root and multiply in the local area. Therefore, turkey is considered a food that can bring luck to people, and eventually it was served on every family's Thanksgiving table. This tradition continues to this day. I want to eat you because I am grateful. Isn't this logic funny? That's right, the Indians who saved their lives were not like the turkeys later. The noble Anglo-Saxons' way of thanking the Indians was to drive them away from their own land or kill them. Both gratitude and remembrance can make people move themselves instantly and make them feel that they still have a conscience. How come they have such a conscience? Although turning around is betrayal and killing. The 2 of them went down the mountain. The nosy Miki Yataguchi proposed to take Zhangjiangbei to visit Kokukyuji Temple. He told Zhangjiangbei that the dry landscape garden of Kokukyuji Temple was worth seeing, although it was not as good as Kyoto Longan Temple, but also very unique. When Zhangjiangbei heard what kind of temple it was, he was immediately not interested. But he was so enthusiastic and it was hard to refuse. Anyway, he had nothing to do. Zhangjiangbei could tell that Taguchi Miki was also interested in everything about Kinosaki. He really likes it from the bottom of his heart, and his nosy character makes him keen to recommend the things he likes to others. Kokurakuji Temple is very close to the Yakushido Hall where they got off the cable car. Taguchi Miki also led Zhang north and walked a small road, and arrived at Kokurakuji Temple in less than 10 minutes. The temple is a typical Japanese temple building. As soon as Zhangjiangbei arrived here, he immediately fell in love with it, not the house here, but the courtyard. The entire courtyard is like an enlarged version of the courtyard outside the room where Zhang Xiangbei lives. It is a typical dry landscape gardening technique. A large area of white and gray gravel is spread in the courtyard, and occasionally there are several groups of magic rocks piled up. Dotted with rock eyries, there is a thick layer of moss on the rockery. The gravels on the ground are not sand, and the wind cannot move them. These white and gray gravels are paved in water patterns, which look like still water. There are no trees in the courtyard, just because there are no trees. The entire empty courtyard gives people a sense of stillness. The water patterns on the gravel appear to be flowing, but in fact they are frozen. Zhang Xiangbei stood there and looked at it. Yes, such a landscape did make him calm down instantly. He felt the mystery and zen of dry landscape. Zhang Xiangbei was walking in the yard. At this time, Miki Taguchi no longer chatted beside him, but deliberately kept a distance from him, letting him appreciate it quietly. Zhang walked to the north and looked at it. After walking through the front yard, he walked to the backyard, but did not enter the main hall of Jile Temple. Zhang Xiangbei walked to the back door of Jileji Temple, and then realized that Miki Taguchi had gone. He looked back and saw that he was far behind. Zhang Xiangbei stopped and waited for him, and at the same time took a long look. He let out a sigh of relief. Only with a long breath, Zhang Xiangbei felt that he had jumped out of the artistic conception of dry landscape and returned to the human world. Taguchi looked at his watch and told Zhang Xiangbei that they would have dinner together in the evening. Zhang Xiangbei quickly said no, thank you. Taguchi also said in an unquestionable tone, no, I can't let you eat what tourists eat. I will take you to eat what locals like to eat. Zhang Xiangbei was impressed by the local people's favorite food. He wanted to go and see it, so he agreed. He said, then I'm going to call the hotel and ask them not to prepare dinner for me. As Zhang Xiangbei spoke, he called Lao Jiao and said that he would not go back to the hotel for dinner tonight. A friend invited him to dinner. Mr. Taguchi also stood some distance away and said something in Japanese, probably to the other end of the phone. Lao Jiao heard this and asked, brother, are you with Mr. Taguchi? Zhang Xiangbei said yes. Lao Jiao laughed. He said yes, he will definitely take you to the food entertainment Tomi-ya. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you Hu, Quadratic VC, Fengkonghu 1974, Ba Liang, Tamagotchi, Deji Lao, Zongkai 727, Nalan 18, Lu Ji Shen, Crush Killer VIP, Yudi, Leadai Bao Ei, Tianying 1978, and, How, On the Road, Everyday, Breeze 365, Romantic Sakura Chin Shu, Lao Shenza Sang, 4 + 1 = 5, Humorous Tribe, Book Friends 201805121221105118, Book Friends 20190110110213524468, Book Friends 202202213133121747, Book Friends 202011091113511923, Monthly votes from readers 1297873838407110656. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2216. Walking back, Zhang Xiangbei realized that Nishimura House was so close to Kokurakuji Temple. It only took 3 or 4 minutes to walk there. It could be said that it was right next door. It was also very close from Nishimura House to Yakushi Hall. It was located between Yakushi Hall and Yakushi Hall. In the middle of Keklok Temple. Zhang Xiangbei was almost escorted back to Nishimura by Miki Taguchi. Taguchi Miki also said that he would go back with him to change clothes. Zhang Xiangbei knew that he thought he was dressed too seriously, so he followed Zhang Xiangbei to the room. Zhang Xiangbei changed into his yukata, and the two of them sat in the booth outside drinking tea. Lao Jiao walked in and said that he heard from the front desk that Mr. Taguchi was here. Lao Jiao sat down and drank tea with the two of them. The female general knelt aside and helped them make tea. The three of them sat for more than half an hour. Miki Taguchi also stood up and told Zhang Xiangbei that we were leaving. Lao Jiao had to go to work and couldn't go with them, but he made an appointment and invited Miki Taguchi and Zhang Xiangbei to dinner the next night. The store that Taguchi took Zhang Xiangbei to was also on the edge of the Daxi River. It was a very small shop, not eye-catching at all. There was not even a shop sign at the door of the store, and it was different from the shops nearby that were decorated to attract tourists. Compared with the somewhat exaggerated facade, it is too simple, so simple that it seems to be squeezed pitifully into a corner by them. After walking in, Zhang Xiangbei discovered that the inside and outside of the door were completely different. In Kinosaki, the room rate at slightly better hotels and inns included breakfast and dinner, so people who ate out for dinner were not. Most tourists eat in the hotels where they stay. The restaurants on the street are busy for lunch and late-night snacks, but not very busy for dinner. But the hotel was already full. Listening to the diners talking, they all spoke in Japanese. There were also many people saying hello to Asai Taguchi. They should all be locals. Zhang Xiangbei followed Taguchi to the second floor and opened the door of a box. 3 people were already sitting inside, including a tall white man, about 1.90 meters tall. Like Zhang Xiangbei, he was wearing a yukata, but the yukata was too small for him, the sleeves became mid-sleeves, and his chest was almost stretched out. The other 2 people should be Japanese. They did not wear yukata, but they also wore casual clothes similar to yukata. Miki Taguchi also introduced them, and Zhang Xiangbei then knew that this white man was a Greek named Papalokas. He was the play that Zhang Xiangbei had seen last night, rehearsed at the Kinosaki International Art Center. Director. This play is an experimental dance drama and is preparing to participate in this year's Venice Biennale. 2 Japanese, the older one is called Yung Xiaofu. He was invited by Miki Taguchi from Tokyo. He is currently Kinosaki's producer, that is, a planner or something like that. The 3 that Lao Qiao gave to Zhang Xiangbei. This book is the product of the books and hot spring activity planned by Mr. Fu, including the Kinosaki International Art Center, and is also one of their overall planning projects. There is also a young man who is about the same age as Zhang Xiangbei. He is Daisuke Kitaka, the 10th generation descendant of Miki-ya. Miki-ya is an ancient hotel with a history of 300 years and is also a popular tourist attraction in the hot spring town. One is that when Naya Shiga was recovering from his injuries in Kinosaki, he lived in Miki-ya. His famous work in Kinosaki was written in Miki-ya. One can imagine the status of Miki-ya in Kinosaki. Kitaka is also one of the sponsors of Book and Hot Spring. Papalokas did not speak Japanese, nor even English, and could only speak Greek. However, none of the people present, including Zhang Xiangbei, understood Greek, and there was no way for the 2 parties to communicate. This guy Papalokas is a bit neurotic, and he seems to be still immersed in his creation. He starts talking about any ideas that come to his mind, and he talks endlessly. Miki Taguchi and the other 3 straighten their waists and slightly lift their upper bodies. Lean forward, put your hands on your knees, and listen to him carefully without still nodding. At first, Zhang Xiangbei thought they could all understand Greek. He quietly asked Miki Taguchi, what was the director talking about? Taguchi also looked at him and said in a low voice, I don't know, neither of us can understand. Zhang Xiangbei almost burst out laughing. He couldn't understand how humming serious you guys were. You were too polite. Papalokas talked excitedly for a long time, and then he realized that what he said was not understood by the other people at all, or maybe he looked at these guys and nodded without even getting to the point, and he was also confused. I was confused and didn't know what they were nodding to. Papalocus's high-pitched voice suddenly dropped and turned into a murmur. After murmuring a few words, he stopped. They were drinking tea and thinking about something. After a while, they couldn't help but talk loudly again. As soon as he opened his mouth, Taguchi, Mikiya and the three of them also straightened their waists, leaned their upper bodies slightly forward, and looked at him, nod occasionally. Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help laughing, and Taguchi turned to look at him, laughed too, and winked at him mischievously. When the food started to arrive, Papalocus stopped talking and concentrated on drinking and eating. When everyone was toasting, he also raised his glass. After the toast, he continued to eat without being verbose. Miki Yataguchi and the three of them seemed to be slightly relieved. There is no language barrier between Zhang Xiangbei and the three of them. Zhang Xiangbei can understand their Japanese English without any problem. The teacher from Laoqiao has been speaking English like this for 4 years by his side. From everyone's chat, Zhang Xiangbei learned that although Miki Taguchi was from Toyooka, he had always been in Tokyo. He only came back to Kinosaki from Tokyo in 2013, and Mr. Yun Takefu was from Tokyo. It was also in 2013 that he came to Kinosaki for the first time, and Miki Taguchi also brought him here. I fell in love with this place as soon as I came here. The hot springs, fine wines, delicacies, and Kinosaki are so refreshing, said Mr. Zhang and Zhang Xiangbei. Next, Mr. Kato came to Kinosaki once a month and collaborated with Kitaka and others to plan the books and hot spring event. Finally, at the invitation of the mayor of Toyooka City, he served as Kinosaki's producer. He moved his whole family from Tokyo. Arrive at Kinosaki. Kitaka and Zhang Xiangbei said, actually, we are also very depressed. In Japan, hot springs are everywhere. Noburabetsu, Bippu, Kusatsu, Atamai, etc. are all more famous than us. Even in Kansai, there are also some Ma and Shirahama. Although Kinosaki has a long history, it does not have any more advantages than other places. On the contrary, it is a disadvantage in terms of transportation. Like us, our family has been running hotels in Kinosaki for generations, and our families handed over the hotels to us. We young people, the new owners of many hotels, honestly feel that if we continue to follow the old path, it's definitely not going to work. There will only be fewer and fewer tourists. Changes must be made, but we don't know how to change it. It's very frustrating. In 2013, when it was the 100th anniversary of Nayashige's arrival in Kinosaki, we felt that we should do something to make a change in Kinosaki. That is, in that year, Mr. Taguchi brought in Kinosaki from Tokyo. Mr. Liao Kitaka recalled the first time he met Miki Yataguchi and said to Zhang Xiangbei with a smile. He just walked in and took out a nosy business card. When I took the business card, my first thought was, is this a liar? Everyone laughed. Kitaka and Zhang Xiangbei said that after several contacts, everyone finally had a firm understanding and confirmed that literature is the root of Kinosaki and the advantage that distinguishes it from other hot springs. We must transform this hot spring town into a literary town. In this way, everyone invested money one after another, and a publishing brand was born, Books and Hot Springs, which became very popular after its launch. The Toyooka city government then participated and provided strong support, and the government and the people cooperated to further broaden their horizons and make Kinosaki not only a hometown of literature, but also a hometown of art. This is where culture sets the stage and economics plays a role. Zhang Xiangbei thought of an old-fashioned and bad word in China and told them about it. The three of them were very excited and thought the word was very vivid and general. We Kinosaki, now it means that culture sets the stage and economics plays the role. After saying that, several people laughed together. Everyone was chatting, and Zhang Xiangbei didn't even taste the food here. Unconsciously, he drank a lot of wine and ate a lot of food. His stomach was full, but he couldn't quite remember what he had eaten. What? Papalokas was also full and began to become impassioned again. In the next few days, Zhang Xiangbei spent most of his time with Miki Yataguchi, Mr. Kataoka, and Mr. Lao Qiao. Zhang Xiangbei would go to Kinosaki International Art Center almost every day, and Miki Taguchi would also come. He drank tea and chatted in his room. They took him here and there, to eat here and there, and he met different people every day. Zhang Xiangbei felt that he was almost assimilated by this place. It seemed that he didn't know as many people in Hangzhou as he did in this small Japanese town. Lao Qiao called Zhang Xiangbei and asked him, "Do you not want to leave?" Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "Lao Qiao, I might as well live in your house." Lao Qiao said, "Okay, anyway, I'm not at home and my parents still need a son." After the two chatted and laughed, Lao Qiao asked, "Sister called me. She knew you were still in Kinosaki and asked me to ask you. There will be an auction of Kobe beef at the Kobe Central Auction Market the day after tomorrow. She will participate. Do you want to go see it?" When Zhang Xiangbei heard about it, he said, "It's great. Of course I want to see it." "Okay, I'll ask my sister to call you later," Lao Qiao said. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Xiangbei remembered his sister's face and felt that it had been a long time coming, including the sadness. He also thought that he should return to his country. Although a foreign country is good, it is not his hometown after all. He decided to go to Kobe to watch the auction of Kobe beef, then go to Tokyo, and then return to his country. Zhang Xiangbei's phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was an unfamiliar number. Zhang Xiangbei answered it and heard his sister's voice. The sister confirmed that Zhang Xiangbei was going to attend the auction the day after tomorrow, so she told him, "Then you have to come to Kobe tomorrow. The auction will be very early, and we will set off at 7 in the morning." Zhang Xiangbei said, "Yes, then I will come to Kobe tomorrow." My sister told Zhang Xiangbei very carefully and asked him to take a note. Tomorrow morning at 7:12, there will be a train from Kinosaki Onsen railway station to Kobe. It will be about 9:30. You can get off at Sunomiya station. When we arrive in Kobe, I will pick you up at the station." Zhang Xiangbei quickly said, "Don't bother me. Sister, just tell me where we can meet the day after tomorrow." There was silence on the other end of the phone. After a while, my sister said, "You will see me at the station." Then he hung up the phone. Thank you to Haikuo Tian Tian, Protostop, and Rainman for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2217. Zhang Xiangbei had to catch the 7:12 a.m. train. He got up at 6 o'clock. He originally wanted to wash up and go to the train station to buy 2 loaves of bread and nibble on breakfast. Unexpectedly, as soon as he got up, the female general came in. Now, while Zhang Xiangbei went into the bathroom to wash up, he packed away the quilts and filled the table with breakfast. Zhang Xiangbei said quickly, "I don't want to eat anymore, I have to catch the train." The female general smiled and said, "Isn't the train at 7:12? It's in time." Zhang Xiangbei had no choice but to sit down and eat breakfast. He was anxious and wanted to eat faster. The female general kept telling him that he had time, he had time. The female general looked slow, but she served him methodically, without being sloppy at all. Zhang Xiangbei finally finished his breakfast under the smile of the female general and the anxiety in his heart, picked up his backpack, and arrived at the lobby. Lao Jiao was already waiting for him here, saying that he was going to take him to the station. Zhang Xiangbei quickly said, "No, it's a little way, I can just walk there by myself." Kinosaki Onsen Station is not far from Nishimura, about 800 to 900 meters. It should take less than 10 minutes to walk there. Lao Jiao insisted on sending it. He said, I promised Hashimoto-chan. If I don't send you to the station, Hashimoto-chan will have no way to explain it. Zhang Xiangbei could only give up. The two of them went out and arrived at the small parking lot in the yard. Lao Jiao wanted to drive him off. Originally, Zhang Xiangbei didn't have much luggage, just a backpack. It was easy to walk there, but he thought it was better to arrive early than late. There was no refusal. The two of them were about to get in the car when Miki Taguchi ran in from outside wearing a pair of wooden clogs. As he ran, he said, "Oh my, I almost missed it." Taguchi also came to see Zhang Xiangbei off, and everyone got in the car together. Kinosaki Onsen train station is very small, with only one floor of a bungalow. In the small square at the entrance, there are stools shaped like matsuba crab claws. Because Detective Conan contains content about Kinosaki Onsen, there are also posters in the station. The poster shows Conan gesturing with a pistol with his right hand, closing one eye and aiming at you. Welcome. Welcome to Kinosaki Onsen. Zhang Xiangbei got off the car and saw Mr. Fu and Mr. Kataka standing at the door of the waiting room. They also came to see Zhang Xiangbei off. When Zhang Xiangbei saw them, he was surprised and happy, and felt warm in his heart. Everyone is here. Although we only got along for a few days, we felt that our feelings for each other were as hot as the hot spring water. Zhang Xiangbei has already made way for Xiongnan to insert Miki Yataguchi, Mr. Kataka, and Mr. Hirata Orisa, the artistic director of Kinosaki International Art Center whom he has never met, into the Yongcheng International Street Art Festival held in August. The invitations are on the way to the special guest list. The station attendant was urging Zhang Xiangbei to get on the train. Everyone hugged each other and made an appointment to meet in Hangzhou and Yongcheng in August. Zhang Xiangbei got on the train. Within 2 or 3 minutes of sitting down, the train started. The timing is so good. The train was speeding through the mountains, crossing from the Japanese coast to Osaka Bay. Villages and golden rice fields were passing by from time to time outside the train window. When Zhang came to the north, the rice fields here were still turning from green to yellow. In just over a week, the rice in Kansai has matured. In a daze, Zhang Xiangbei had the feeling that 7 days had passed in the mountains and 1,000 years had passed in this world. Zhang Xiangbei got off the bus at Tsunomiya Station in Kobe. When he was almost walking to the exit, he saw his sister standing there in the distance, looking anxiously in the crowd of passengers coming out. She finally saw Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei waved to her, and her sister smiled at Zhang Xiangbei, who seemed to have calmed down. Zhang Xiangbei walked up to her and said, "Hello, long time no see." My sister smiled, said nothing, and her face turned slightly red. When the two of them walked outside, my sister said, "I was worried that you wouldn't come." "How come?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. After hesitating for a while, my sister said, "I thought you didn't want to see me." Zhang Xiangbei was speechless for a moment. He wanted to say that it was you who left without saying goodbye last time. Thinking about it, he didn't say it. When the two of them got to the car, neither of them spoke. The sister started the car and drove out of the parking lot. As the car drove forward, Zhang Xiangbei looked out of the car. He became more and more confused as he looked. After seeing this, he couldn't help it anymore and asked, "Where are we going?" He saw the car, which had obviously left the city of Kobe and headed for the suburbs. "Go to me," my sister said. "Hashimoto told me that you originally planned to go to me. If he can't come back in Tokyo, I will go with you." Only then did Zhang Xiangbei remember that when they came, it wasn't them, but Hashimoto did tell Zhang Xiangbei that when they returned to Tokyo, they were going to Matsuzaka City in Mie Prefecture, and he wanted to take him. Zhang went north to eat authentic Matsusaka beef. Matsusaka beef is the top beef among the three major Japanese Wagyu beefs, ranking above Kobe Wagyu. Zhang Xiangbei said yes as soon as he heard it. He himself had forgotten about it. Hashimoto had also returned to Tokyo. Thinking of it, he entrusted this matter to his sister. Zhang Xiangbei said quickly, "Thank you, sister, will this be too much trouble?" My sister smiled and said, "I have a day off today. If there is any trouble, we will be there in 2 hours. Let's go there now. It will be lunchtime when we get there." Everyone was already on the way. It would be pretentious to say anything else. Zhang Xiangbei said thank you. It was still too hard for my sister. Along the way, my sister asked Zhang Xiangbei how he was having fun in Chinky. Zhang Xiangbei said it was very good. He imitated Mr. Fu and said, "Hot springs, fine wine, delicious food, Kinosaki is so refreshing." My sister smiled softly. Zhang Xiangbei continued to talk endlessly, talking about his experience in Kinosaki with his sister, Miki Yataguchi, Mr. Kataoka, and Mr. Zhang, and of course his sister's classmate Lao Xiao. Like this, it's really like a younger brother who has returned from a long journey, sharing his journey experience with his older sister. My sister listened carefully while driving. Sometimes she nodded, sometimes she pursed her lips and smiled, encouraging Zhang Xiangbei to continue talking and continue to tell all the trivial matters. As he talked, Zhang Xiangbei had a feeling that he was starting to get smaller. When he was a child, he would follow Xiang Nan and keep saying funny things to please her, but he was afraid that Xiang Nan wouldn't let him go. He follows them and acts as their tail. Matsuzaka City is a seaside city and the birthplace of Matsusaka beef. The so-called cities in Japan are very broad, including super-metropolitan cities like Tokyo, and small cities like Toyooka and Matsuzaka, like Matsuzaka City. If it were placed in China, in Yongchang, it would not even be considered a county seat. Its size would be at most like a town below Yongchang. My sister drove the car to a 5-story building with a golden exterior and stopped in front of it. This building is the tallest building in Matsuzaka City. On the front of the building is a gate with draped eaves. There is a white wall on the side of the gate. On the white wall are 3 golden characters hissed in gold. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the shape of the entire building, which looked very much like a hotel or a domestic express hotel. His sister told him that there was no accommodation here, but only private rooms for eating Matsusaka beef. This is the most famous restaurant in Matsusaka. On their way into the city, they saw a beef shop on both sides of the street, a few meters away, with signs showing Matsusaka beef. My sister told Zhang Xiangbei that in Matsusaka beef is usually made into 3 types, barbecue, sukiyaki, and western steak. If you see a store that specializes in one of them, such a store will usually not be large in scale. But you can rest assured that the meat is also very fresh, cheap, and good quality, and restaurants that can operate all 3 at the same time are generally high-end restaurants, and Hishinjin is the most famous one. The 2 got off the car. A middle-aged man in chef's uniform and a middle-aged female general in kimono were waiting for them at the door. My sister introduced to Zhang Xiangbei that this middle-aged man in chef's uniform was Wada-jin. The boss was very happy to see his sister. The relationship between his sister and him seemed to be relatively close, the kind of intimacy that a junior sees his elder. My sister and Zhang Xiangbei said, "The seats here are very tight. There is no way. There are too many guests, some of whom come all the way from Tokyo. Generally, we have to book 1 or 2 weeks in advance to get a reservation. Our uncle helped us make special arrangements of." Zhang Xiangbei quickly said thank you to his boss, "Thank you." After saying hello, the boss went to work, and the female general accompanied them. They first visited the kitchen and the entire hotel, and then went upstairs to dine. Zhang Xiangbei asked his sister, "Do you come here often?" Hashimoto and I often came here when we were very young, and my father would bring us here, my sister said. My sister told Zhangjiangbei that Matsusaka beef does not mean that cattle are produced in Matsusaka. Mie Prefecture itself does not produce cattle. Most of their cattle are 8-9-month-old to 1-year-old cattle bought from Artajima. Raise them for more than 2 years before slaughtering them. Washan Gold has its own pasture. The cattle they sell in their store are all raised on their own pasture. The cattle are bought from Artajima. Our family has always been their cattle supply farm. When we were young, every time my father sends cattle, he will take Hashimoto and me here. Zhang Xiangbei understood. The female general led them around, and Zhang Xiangbei saw that there was not a single table or box on the entire first floor. Except for the kitchen, the entire front half was a hall with a 2-story atrium in the middle, which was very majestic and harmonious. It is spacious, with soft carpets in the lobby, an exquisite dry landscape garden, a seating area for guests to rest, and a shop selling Matsusaka beef. The beef shop sells Weidakan's own Matsusaka beef. Customers are satisfied with their food here and can even buy it to take away. They need to change their shoes when they enter the hall. After they change their shoes, the female general will take their shoes to the shoe cabinet on the side and store them away. In the lobby, Zhang Xiangbei saw a signboard that looked to be quite old, with the words "Original Ancestor of Pine Banner Pork" written on it. Needless to say, there was nothing else to say. Just looking at these few words, they were domineering enough. My sister told Zhang Xiangbei that Weidakan was opened in the 11th year of Meiji, that is, in 1878. It is a famous beef restaurant not only in Mie and the entire Kansai region, but also in all of Japan. 1887? Zhang Xiangbei did some calculations and found out that it was already a century-old store. Well, if such a grandpa's store didn't have the skills to look after it, it wouldn't be where it is today. Weidakan starts from the 2nd floor to the 5th floor, which is where guests eat. There is no hall here, there are compartments of different sizes, that is, private rooms. The smallest one can accommodate 4 or 5 people. There are a total of 40 private rooms ranging from small private rooms to a banquet hall that can accommodate 30 or 40 people. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you Tiger, favorite go-to, Monkey who loves cats, Edison, Big Guy, Wooden Man, 4 + 1 = 5, Light and Thin, Hui Momo, Book Friends 854 974 monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2218. You can see exquisite Japanese courtyards with different shapes in the elevators and corridors on each floor of Weidakan. What makes Zhang Xiangbei feel strange is that although the hotel is large and it is already full at this time, they walking upstairs and downstairs, I didn't see a single guest, and I couldn't hear any noise while walking in the corridor upstairs. Their box was on the 3rd floor. The female general led them in and opened the door. Zhang Xiangbei's first impression was that it was still big. It was so big that it was empty. On the tatami in the middle, there was a red-painted round table. In the middle of the round table it was a charcoal stove. Knowing that they were 2 people, there were only 2 chairs placed beside the round table, which was really not superfluous at all. Zhang Xiangbei and his sister sat down, and the female general began to serve the dishes. Her sister said to Zhang Xiangbei, "I ordered barbecue and sukiyaki. I personally think that Matsuzaka meat is more delicious when grilled. However, sukiyaki is a specialty of Kansai. How can you not eat sukiyaki when you go to Kansai? We will barbecue today. Do you like sukiyaki?" Zhang Xiangbei said, "I don't even understand, your arrangement must be good." What Zhang Xiangbei was thinking was that in fact, he had already tasted barbecue and sukiyaki at Lao Qiao's house on the first day he came, and his sister cooked them for him. Although my sister had already ordered the dishes, she still showed the recipes to Zhang Xiangbei, knowing that he was interested in this. Zhang Xiangbei was a little surprised that the recipes here were actually in Japanese, English and Chinese. It seems that there are quite a few Chinese people who come here to eat Songban beef. Unlike other stores, the Weijiao here is not labeled a 5 or a 4, but instead labeled with plum, bamboo and pine. The sukiyaki feast course for 2 persons is divided into 3 types, pine 16,700 yen, bamboo 14,600 yen, and ume 12,200 yen, plus 10% service fee. When he was in Kinosaki, Ueda, the boss of Ueda, told him that plum, bamboo, pine, and rattan are the grades of beef, which also refer to different parts of beef, and rattan is the highest grade. There is no highest grade vine here, it must be that there is too little vine grade beef. It is written on the menu, but the customer ordered it but it was not available. It is so embarrassing. Zhang Xiangbei told his sister, and she laughed. She looked at the female general kneeling next to her, and she also laughed. My sister said, "What we eat today is rattan grade beef, rattan grade beef. It's not on the menu, but many old customers will order it when they make a reservation, and it will be prepared here." Zhang Xiangbei suddenly realized. But you are right. There is too little vine grade beef. One cow only weighs 5 or 6 kilograms. If all the guests order it, they won't have so much, my sister said. My sister then told Zhang Xiangbei that grades of Weijiao beef ranging from a 5 to C1 must be evaluated and appraised by professionals from the central wholesale market. The Matsuzaka beef of Washin Gold comes from its own pasture and has not been appraised. Therefore, here there is no A5 Weijiao beef, but it does not mean that their meat quality is not good. In fact, their own standards are higher, otherwise the diners won't buy it. Their poisonous tongues are more powerful than the eyes of the appraisers. Zhang Xiangbei said, and his sister smiled and said yes. If you are in other stores, when the beef is served, there will also be an identification tag of the beef, telling you which cow it came from and which ranch the cow came from. It is clearly written on it. There is no need to write it here. They came out of their ranch themselves, said my sister. The female general served them appetizers. Placed in a long curved wooden box was the signature platter of wadajin, which contained rain-cooked, seasonal vegetable aspic and fresh vegetable mousse, as well as grilled beef and wadajin Matsuzaka beef stock. The charcoal stove in the middle of the round table was filled with fine sand. While Zhang Xiangbei and his sister were enjoying the appetizers, the female general used fire chopsticks to pile a small pile of chrysanthemum charcoal in the charcoal stove, then brought a pot and lit it. After adding the charcoal to the pile of charcoal, Zhang Xiangbei felt a burst of hot air coming out from there. Although the burning charcoal was white-gray, there was almost no open flame. There is also no range hood like a barbecue restaurant here, so we have to rely on the charcoal, ingredients, and the skills of the female general, otherwise it will easily become smoky. My sister told Zhang Xiangbei that the chrysanthemum charcoal of Wada Gold was specially made for them by charcoal making masters in Kumamoto using local oak. These charcoal making families have also passed down the craftsmanship for several generations. It can be guaranteed that the chrysanthemum they have here is always the best. Zhang Xiangbei nodded. It's true that it's easy for a store to lose its own sign, but it's difficult to maintain it. A century-old store wouldn't have been able to go this far without such a rigorous attitude. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the beef that was brought to be roasted. The fat was evenly distributed, and it really looked like frost. Such beef was already pleasing to the eye. The female general put a wire rack on the charcoal fire and started roasting the beef. The beef was not marinated with any other condiments. She just put the meat in a small bowl with Japanese soy sauce, so that both sides of the beef were covered with soy sauce, and then placed it on the wire rack. Bake. While Zhang Xiangbei was eating the delicious appetizers, he could already smell the aroma of soy sauce and beef. Because Wagyu beef is rich in beef fat, it should not be grilled too rare as it will make it greasy. It is usually medium rare or well done. My sister and female general said that it is well done. It was fully cooked, because the beef was too tender and would not be ready for a while. The female general put the 2 pieces of beef into 2 small bowls and handed them to them. Zhang Xiangbei used chopsticks to hold the beef. He felt that if he exerted a little force, the meat would be cut off by himself and put into his mouth. Zhang Xiangbei immediately thought of Mr. Fu's words. My sister smiled and asked Zhang Xiangbei, "Is it delicious?" Zhang Xiangbei said, "It's so exciting." My sister laughed softly. Zhang Xiangbei leaned towards her and whispered, "My sister's roast is also delicious." My sister's face blushed slightly, and Zhang Xiangbei also felt that although her words were true, they were a bit redundant. Her sister said, "That's because you ate it for the first time." No, Zhang Xiangbei shook his head. "Why not?" He did not continue, and his sister did not ask further questions. While they were eating barbecue, the female general had replaced the grid on the charcoal stove with an iron pot and started making sukiyaki. She first drained the pot with beef fat, and then put the beef down piece by piece. There was a sizzling sound in the iron pot, and the female general was frying it with chopsticks, as if she was draining the beef. She added sucrose, Japanese-style milk to the iron pot, soy sauce, kombu dashi. The female general was explaining to them while making sukiyaki. The female general said that Watajin has its own insistence and consistent approach to sukiyaki. Except for adding these 3, no other condiments are allowed. In ordinary stores, sukiyaki is prepared for you. Here at Wada Gold, you can see the entire production process. My sister told Zhang Xiangbei. The sukiyaki of Wada Gold is to let you see the yakitu, that is, the female chef, grilling the meat bit by bit in front of you, giving out the fragrance. Firstly, it allows you to see the freshness of the ingredients. Yakitu, they also season and control the heat in person, so you can see their craftsmanship. Zhang Xiangbei understood. No wonder the female general was a middle-aged person. It turned out that the female generals here were not just waiters. They were actually chefs. No wonder he heard the surroundings were quiet in the corridor. It turned out that everyone was eating and drinking at the same time. Was also concentrating on admiring the delicacies cooked by the female generals and communicating softly with them. Zhang Xiangbei told his sister about his thoughts, and she said, "Yes, in Hishinjin, a qualified female general needs 8 years of study to achieve it." The beef in the iron pot curled up, with bright color and overflowing aroma. Zhang Xiangbei couldn't wait to eat it. The female general took a small bowl, broke an egg, put it in the bowl, and quickly beat the egg with chopsticks. Beat it evenly, then take a piece of beef from the iron pot that is dripping with oil and still sizzling, dip the beef in the egg liquid, and then put the bowl in front of Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei picked up the meat and put it in his mouth, and the words immediately came to his mind, "It's so good." The female general then puts green onions, duck celery, onions, shiitake mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, etc. into the iron pot, soaks them in the gravy, sprinkles sugar like snowflakes with chopsticks, and pours soy sauce and kombu stock. After Zhang Xiangbei and his sister tasted the vegetables, the female general pushed the vegetables aside with chopsticks and added the remaining beef to the iron pot. The elder sister and the female general said something in Japanese. The female general nodded to Zhang Xiangbei and exited first. Only Zhang Xiangbei and his elder sister were left in the box. Zhang Xiangbei drank the rice wine brewed by Hishinjin, and his elder sister drinking plum juice. At this time, my sister became a female general. She lowered her head and kept turning the beef in the iron pot, or adding new vegetables, and kept putting vegetables for Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei said thank you. When he looked at his sister, she always looked away. Zhang Xiangbei looked at his sister. He seemed to have a lot to say in his heart, but felt that he had no way to say it. After holding it in for a long time, Zhang Xiangbei finally said, "Sister, you are Lao Qiao's sister, that is, my sister." "My sister," said him without any words. Zhang Xiangbei continued, "Lao Qiao has told me about my sister. Next time that person is, sister, please call me." My sister raised her head, looked at Zhang Xiangbei, and smiled. It was no longer a gentle smile, but a little sad. She asked, "Call you? What can you do?" "I'll fly over and beat him up," Zhang Xiangbei said. "Really, I've checked. There are planes from Hangzhou to Osaka. You can get to Kobe very quickly. It's faster than Lao Qiao coming from Tokyo." My sister laughed softly. Although Zhang Xiangbei's words were a bit childish, my sister felt warm in her heart after listening to them. She stretched out her hand, held Zhang Xiangbei's hand, and said to him, "Thank you. Also, if sister doesn't want to be in Kobe, you can go to China or Hangzhou. I can help you find a good job," Zhang Xiangbei said. My sister looked at him and nodded slowly. "I understand. Thank you Yuangzi for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2219. On the way back to Kobe, the two of them didn't talk much. My sister was concentrating on driving. Zhang Xiangbei leaned his head on the back of the chair, seemingly asleep, and squinted his eyes again, observing his sister's actions very carefully. The road signs on the side of the road showed that as we got closer and closer to Kobe, the look on my sister's face became serious, and she was no longer as relaxed as she was in Matsuzaka. Although she still maintained the same posture as when she first set off on the road, her eyes were still open. His eyebrows were frowned slightly, and his face became a little pale. Zhang Xiangbei looked a little distressed. No need to ask, he also knew that the city getting closer and closer in front of him was not the city that his sister liked. In this city, there were things that she wanted to escape from, rather than eagerly approaching things. My sister drove the car to the door of the hotel, got out of the car, and accompanied Zhang Xiangbei to the front desk of the hotel. She had already booked a room for Zhang Xiangbei here. While Zhang Xiangbei was going through the check-in procedures, her sister stood aside, a little confused. Restless, she raised her wrist to look at her watch, then looked around, her eyes empty. After finishing the formalities, the two of them walked toward the elevator. After walking a short distance, the sister stopped, and Zhang Xiangbei also stopped and looked at her. The two looked at each other in silence. The sister shook her head slightly and said, "I'll take you here. I'll pick you up at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning." Zhang Xiangbei said yes. The sister turned around and hurriedly walked outside. Zhang Xiangbei watched her and stood there for a while. Instead of continuing to the elevator, he followed his sister to the door. The sister walked very fast. By the time Zhang Xiangbei reached the door, she had already got in the car and driven away. Zhang Xiangbei stood there and sighed. Zhang Xiangbei sat down on the sofa in the lobby and watched the strange men and women walking around in front of him. This city was unfamiliar to him. The only person he knew in this city was his sister, but in fact, he didn't care about his sister. It was also unfamiliar. He didn't even know which streets his sister would be driving in the southeast, northwest, and northwest of the city at this time. "I don't even know what will happen to my sister next." Zhang Xiangbei picked up his cell phone and called Lao Qiao and told him that we were back from Matsuzaka, and when we arrived at the hotel, my sister had already left. "How's it going, buddy?" Lao Qiao lowered his voice and asked. He should be at work at this time. Zhang Xiangbei could even imagine him in his cubicle, bending over, lowering his head and talking on the phone softly. "It's delicious. Matsuzaka beef is well deserved, And it's so delicious, Zhang Xiangbei said. Lao Chiao smiled softly, and Zhang Xiangbei said, "Thank you, Lao Chiao. Thank me for nothing. My sister took you there." "You should thank your sister," Lao Chiao said. "I have already thanked you," Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile. "Sister, I am also following your request. I didn't ask for it. I wanted to go on my own, and my sister wouldn't take me there," Lao Qiao said. "It was her own idea. She said she wanted to let you experience the best beef in Japan." Zhang Xiangbei was stunned for a moment and said, "Okay, you can continue to work. By the way, you don't have to pick me up at the station tomorrow. Don't ask for leave. My aunt will pick me up and we will have dinner together when you get off work." "Okay, got it, buddy," Lao Chiao said and hung up the phone. Zhang Xiangbei wondered, was the minister walking towards his cubicle with a straight face? Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help but smile. The next morning, Zhang Xiangbei asked Mao Ling to wake up at 6 o'clock, wash up, and then go downstairs to have breakfast. When he was about to go downstairs, he thought about whether he should wait for his sister to come and eat together. "Did you have breakfast? In the end, you decided to eat it by yourself. If your sister didn't eat it, you might have to eat it again with her." Zhang Xiangbei packed his backpack and went downstairs. After going to the central wholesale market to watch the Kobe beef auction, Zhang Xiangbei didn't come back and went straight to the train station to take the bus to Tokyo. After breakfast on the second floor, Zhang Xiangbei went down to the lobby and completed the checkout procedures. It was only 6:40, and Zhang Xiangbei was sitting in the lobby waiting for his sister. At 6:50, Zhang Xiangbei saw his sister coming in from the door. Today, her sister was wearing a black one-step skirt, a white shirt on top, and a gray suit outside. She looked very energetic and was the first person like Zhang Xiangbei. When I saw her for the first time, she was wearing casual clothes at home. She was wearing a t-shirt and jeans yesterday. It was a different style, very cool. Zhang Xiangbei got up and went over to greet him. His sister smiled when she saw him, and it was still that gentle smile. Zhang Xiangbei asked her if she had eaten breakfast. Her sister said that she had eaten breakfast. "I was afraid that it would be too late, so I brought it for you to eat on the way." Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "I've already eaten it." "Okay, then I'll give you lunch." My sister raised the Oxford cloth rice bag in her hand and said. Zhang Xiangbei said yes. The two of them went out and got into my sister's car. On the way, my sister told Zhang Xiangbei that if there are people around at the central wholesale market, don't speak. Outsiders are not allowed to enter there. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, thinking, this beef auction is not a secret, there is nothing to keep secret, but there is no way. The Japanese way of thinking is so strange sometimes, like in the red light district of Tokyo, if you are white, foreigners who are too obvious will not let you in. They probably think that the red light district is not a glorious thing, and if you don't let you see it, you won't know. As my sister drove to the suburbs, Zhang Xiangbei thought to himself that this central wholesale market is probably the same as the agricultural capital in Hangzhou. It is built in the suburbs. Every morning, there will be a lot of traffic here, and it will be full of people transporting vegetables and purchasing goods from all over. Vehicle. The auction scene is probably the same as that of the Taipei Agricultural Products Transportation and Marketing Company that I have been to. Don't Taiwanese people like to imitate the Japanese in everything? The Taipei Agricultural Products Transportation and Marketing Company's vegetable auction may have been learned from Japan. The busy traffic and busy scene that Zhang Xiangbei imagined never appeared. The car drove into an industrial area and finally turned into the yard of a factory. His sister said to Zhang Xiangbei, "Arrive." Zhang Xiangbei looked around and saw that this place was deserted. What looked like a central wholesale market? He asked his sister. She told him that this was a slaughterhouse and a central wholesale market. The auction of Kobe Wagyu beef was also here. Only then did Zhang Xiangbei understand that the so-called central wholesale market was just a specialized wholesale market for Weijia beef. The elder sister parked the car in front of a building, and the two of them got out of the car. The elder sister held a folder in her hand, and took out two down jackets from the trunk, giving one to Zhang Xiangbei, and one for herself. In hand. My sister led Zhang Xiangbei to the front of a factory building at the back. Zhang Xiangbei could see that this should be a cold chain workshop. Sure enough, when he walked to the door, his sister asked Zhang Xiangbei to put on his down jacket and opened a door. There was a security guard at the door. He saw his sister and greeted her. My sister said a few words to the security guard. The security guard looked at Zhang Xiangbei and nodded. My sister signed a book, stamped her private seal, and sneaked in with Zhang Xiangbei. "What did you say to him?" Zhang Xiangbei asked as he walked in the corridor. "I told him that you are my intern," my sister said to Zhang Xiangbei with a smile. The door at the end of the corridor was hung with heavy felt. When he opened the felt and went in, Zhang Xiangbei was stimulated by the scene in front of him. He saw that in a house of about 200 square meters, rows of neatly hung dozens of cows. These cows have been gutted, and skinned, and their heads and tails are missing. Their two hind hooves are hung on two iron hooks. There are tracks above the hooks, which can carry these upside-down animals. The headless cow walks away. Zhang Xiangbei looked at these cows and could see the scarlet meat and the thick white layer of beef fat covering the skin. His sister said to Zhang Xiangbei, "Cows slaughtered like this are called stick meat." Between the rows of branches, there were several people in white coats walking back and forth. My sister leaned into Zhang Xiangbei's ear and told him that these people were the judges. There was a larger cold storage over there, and there would be a lot of food in it. There are hundreds of slaughtered cattle, and only those that are a 4 or above will be moved here after being evaluated by the judges. This is for those of us who are preparing to bid. Someone came over and handed his sister 2 pieces of paper. On them was the list of Weijia cattle to be photographed in the first scene today. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the serial numbers. There were 62 in total. His sister told Zhang Xiangbei that they would be back at 10:30. There will be a second show with more than 30 animals. If you don't take enough pictures in the first show, you can apply to participate in the second show immediately. My sister is going to take photos of 5 Weijia cattle today. They were ordered by European customers. She put the list into a folder, holding a pen in her hand, and let Zhang Xiangbei to look at them one by one. She lowered her head to look at the list, then raised her head. Looking at the meat of the branches, they are marked on the list from time to time. Those marked are all her candidate cows. The cows hanging on their heads are printed with blue badges of wild daisies. Wild daisies are the prefectural flower of Hyogo Prefecture, and there are also blue seals of a 5 or a 4, which are the grades assessed by the judges. There is also a sticker on each cow, which prints the cow's identity code, its mother and farmer's information, etc. They walked around twice, and the sister felt confident. The two of them walked out of the cold storage and went next door, ready to start the auction. The auction for this batch of 62 Kobe Weijia cattle will begin in half an hour. Zhang Xiangbei had seen pigs being killed, but he had never seen how to kill cattle. It would be very troublesome to kill such a big guy with such strong ox power. However, pigs can howl at the top of their lungs, but I don't know if cows can. Some books say that cows shed tears when they are killed, but I don't know if this is true. Zhang Xiangbei was a little curious and asked his sister, "Can you go see how to kill a cow?" My sister shook her head and said, "No, I have never even been inside the slaughterhouse. This is an important area of the slaughterhouse and outsiders are not allowed to enter." "Are you afraid that the scene will be too bloody?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "No, I'm afraid of scaring the cow," said my sister. Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help but laugh. He was almost dead, so he was still afraid of scaring it. My sister said seriously, "If a cow is frightened, the quality of its meat will be affected. Cows are slaughtered here and all cows are euthanized. Even so, there are dedicated breeders accompanying them every day to comfort them, but they actually still know, he is about to die. At this time, if he sees a stranger again, he will be easily shocked. Well, you are right. After all, you are a nation that has to make even a rice ball repeatedly and then appear solemnly. After all, you have eaten too much Weijia, so you probably understand them better than me. Zhang Xiangbei thought. Thank you to Brokeback Mountain, 2 fishes, and book friend 201804120837067755 for the reward. Thank you to Evergreen Yan Dottie, Little Gatekeeper, On the Road to a Nation, Deji Lao, and Good110123 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2220. The auction hall is not big, about 100 square meters, like a lecture theater, with rows of long tables connected together, one step at a time. There is an LCD monitor on the table in front of each seat. The monitor is connected to a smartphone-sized control panel. The buttons on it are used to enter membership codes and transaction codes. Only those who apply to become a member of the central wholesale market and pay only those with a deposit are eligible to sit here and participate in the auction. Last year's Kobe Weijia fraud scandal did a lot of harm to Kobe Weijia. Now, from breeding to auctioning, to all Kobe Weijia restaurants in Japan, the management of every link has been strengthened, and various procedures have become complicated. There is a row of 4 buttons installed on the table in front of the LCD monitor, namely 1, 10, 50, and 100. For every auction, the auctioneer will first call out a starting price, and then everyone will press the button. The button starts bidding, and each time you press the button, it indicates how much you will increase your bid. The auction is calculated per kilogram. My sister and Zhang Xiangbei said that the price increase for a 5 and a 4 Kobe Weijia beef is usually 50 or 100 yen each time. Only the poorer beef, below a 3, will be used in the auction. 1 and 10 buttons, because the starting price of beef like that is low, and the range of price increase is also limited. In front of the auction hall is a huge glass showcase with a track on the top. My sister and Zhang Xiangbei said that when the auction starts later, the meat from the branches they saw in the cold storage will be divided into 2 halves, divided into 2 pieces of, and 1 piece of meat will pass through the glass inside the display window. The staff inside will turn the meat and show both the front and back sides of the stick of meat to everyone. Next to the glass display window, near the ceiling, there are 2 display screens. As the meat appears in the display window, one display screen will alternately display all the information about the cow, as well as close-ups of the meat, and the other screen will show the auction. After the bidder reports the starting price will appear on the screen. This number keeps changing, indicating that everyone is constantly increasing the price. The last number no longer flashes. This number is the transaction price. At this time, the bidder's code will be printed on the screen next to it that originally displayed Weijia information, telling everyone who finally won the bid. Zhang Xiangbei saw a banner hanging on the glass display window in front of him, which read the 95th Haimji Weijia Beef Evaluation Meeting. Haimji is a city under Hyogo Prefecture. When Kobe Weijia beef is auctioned here, it will be divided into more fine details. The batch of Weijia cattle auctioned today are all produced in Haimji City. If they come from Toyooka City, here I will write about Toyooka so that everyone can understand it at a glance. There were about 30 bidders at today's auction venue. The auction started. The auctioneer in a white coat appeared with a microphone in his hand. He first announced the start of the 95th Haimji Weijia meat evaluation. The auctioneer's words: the speed was very fast and he could catch up with Hua Xiao. He told everyone that the first shot today was 62 Weijia cattle and 124 pieces of meat. Waiting for the second session at 10:30, there are still 27 animals that will continue to participate in the auction. After this session, go to the clerk immediately to sign up. After the auctioneer said this, he then asked a representative of the judges, a certain director of the Hyogo headquarters of the Japan Agricultural Cooperative Association, to introduce the situation of the selection of twig meat. Minister so-and-so was also wearing a white coat. He took the microphone from the auctioneer's hand, briefly introduced the general situation of the meat selection, and then handed the microphone back to the auctioneer. The auction officially started, and a stick of meat hanging upside down appeared in the window. The information about the stick of meat appeared on the screen. The auctioneer typed a series of keys on the keyboard in front of him, and the number 3,300 appeared on the screen. The number is the starting price per kilogram. As soon as the number appears, it starts to change. The auctioneer was not only sharp-tongued, but also had good eyes. He stood there, swaying back and forth, looking at the screen in front of him. The numbers on the screen kept changing, and he reported the numbers one by one in a cadence, just like the cross-stock actor spoke in one breath until the number stopped at 4,350. 4,350 yen is the transaction price per kilogram of the first cut of meat. The pace of the entire auction was very fast. No wonder the auctioneer had to speak as fast as Mr. Hua. It only took a minute or two for a piece of meat to appear in the window until the auction was completed. As soon as the auction started, my sister was so focused that she didn't even have time to talk to Zhang Xiangbei. She had to keep calculating in her head and pressing the buttons with her fingers to bid, especially the ones she had chosen in front of her. When that meat appears, many times, the final auction price is, for example, 4,350. No one bids more, and the transaction price is this price. However, at this price, several people may bid at the same time. At this time, it depends on who is the first to bid. If you are slow, you might not capture anything all morning. My sister selected candidate beef at a ratio of 1:3. After the half-price bidding started, it quickly exceeded her expectations, so she had no choice but to give up. This situation is even more serious during the peak tourist season when the supply of Kobe Weijia beef exceeds demand. Only cattle sent from various places in Hyogo Prefecture can be named Kobe Weijia after being selected and auctioned here and rated a 3 or above. My sister is an expert herself. She certainly knows what meat is good and what is bad, and her taste is no worse than those of the judges. But that's it, no matter how good the meat quality of her own cattle is, she can't sell her own beef directly to customers. What the customers want is Kobe Weijia. Without beef auctioned here, there is no way to get Kobe Weijia. Weijia certification, and as long as the cattle are sent here, they must go through such a public auction. Even if it is her own cow, as long as it is sent here, my sister has no way to say that she will buy it back directly. She will still sit here and take pictures of it. Weijia beef that has not been auctioned in the auction market cannot be labeled as a 5 or a 4. You can only hang the sign of Matsuzaka beef like Wada Gold and Press Ume, bamboo, pine, sell it as a rattan grade, or sell it as Tajima beef like Jayashao Ueda, but not Kobe Weijia. My sister was very lucky today. She got all the beef she needed in the first session. There was no need for a second session. She went to the front and stamped her seal on the delivery book. Next, the batch of meat she photographed, because it is to be exported to Europe, it will be entrusted to the slaughterhouse to directly freeze and acidify at -60 degrees. The two of them walked outside and got in the car. My sister sent Zhang Xiangbei to the train station. There were many trains from Kobe to Tokyo. Zhang Xiangbei didn't even eat lunch. He wanted to rush back to Tokyo as soon as possible. Once he had the idea of returning to China, he seemed to be anxious, and his mentality was completely different from when he was in Kinosaki. This was probably because he felt like he was returning home. After buying the ticket, my sister gave Zhang Xiangbei the Oxford cloth rice bag and sent him to the entrance. The two stood face to face. For a moment, neither of them knew what to say. It was Zhang Xiangbei who spoke first and said to his sister, "We have agreed to call me if you need anything." My sister smiled and said yes, then spread her arms and said, "Come, let's hug." The two hugged each other. The sister hugged Zhang Xiangbei without letting go, and her body began to tremble. Just as Zhang Xiangbei was about to say something, the sister suddenly let go of him, then turned around and said to him, "Come on, goodbye." Zhang Xiangbei didn't dare to stay. He was afraid that he would cry too, which would be too embarrassing. He quickly said goodbye and turned around and walked into the entrance. Zhang Xiangbei sat in the waiting room and opened the Oxford cloth lunch bag. There was a bottle of milk and a lunch box in it. Zhang Xiangbei opened the lunch box and saw a lunch box of sushi inside. Zhang Xiangbei picked up one and bit it in his mouth. His eyes turned red when he thought that the sushi was made by his sister. Zhang Xiangbei returned to Hangzhou from Tokyo, and Uncle Xiaoshu drove to Xiaoshan Airport to pick him up. Nowadays, Zhang Xiangbei is alone in Hangzhou. He is too embarrassed to ask someone from Zaixian Shui to pick him up. Calculating the time, even Sun Xiangyang is at work now, so it is inappropriate for him to pick him up. Among the family members, Uncle Xiaoshu was the freest one, so Zhang Xiangbei called him. Xiaoshu picked up Zhang Xiangbei and told him, "Your house is ready, do you want to take a look?" Zhang Xiangbei said yes. After leaving the airport, they went to Qianzhong New Town without even returning home. Zhang Xiangbei walked into his new house and was stunned. He didn't expect that his new house would be so beautiful after it was decorated, especially those that he and Xiangnan went to Jubeo half-acre field logistic space. They had seen the piles of old furniture there, and to be honest the two of them were disappointed. Looking back now, the furniture collected by these little trees from all over the world seems to have come to life and is renewed. Each piece of these furniture looks particularly suitable and coordinated in its position, as if they grew out of here. "How is it? Are you satisfied?" Xiaoshu asked. Zhang Xiangbei chuckled. "Don't just smile, tell me whether you are satisfied or not," Xiaoshu shouted. "Satisfied, satisfied, 111 million satisfied, that's awesome," Zhang Xiangbei said. Xiaoshu smiled, "Of course, otherwise your father and I would have been in vain." "Thank you, Uncle." Zhang Xiangbei clasped his hands and arched towards the small tree. Xiaoshu said, "I am nothing, thank you Dad." Zhang Xiangbei raised his hands to the sky, "Thank you, Dad." Xiaoshu glared at him and cursed, "Where are you worshipping? Where is your father?" Zhang Xiangbei laughed. The two of them went downstairs to the underground parking lot and walked to Xiaoshu's car. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Give me the car keys." Xiaoshu gave Zhang Xiangbei the car keys without thinking. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Lend me the car and you can take a taxi back." "Where are you going?" Xiaoshu said, "I'll take you there." "No, I'm going to Yongchang," Zhang Xiangbei said. Xiaoshu was stunned for a moment, then asked with a smirk on his face, "So impatient." Zhang Xiangbei rolled his eyes at him and cursed, "I am disrespectful and have such a dirty mind." Xiaoshu laughed and shouted, "Tell me, why am I thinking dirty?" Zhang Xiangbei was too lazy to pay attention to him and got into the car. Then he stuck his head out of the car window and asked, "Can you get in the car? Get in the car and I can take you to the gate." Xiaoshu quickly ran to the passenger seat, opened the door and got in the car. "Thank you Guandian Electromechanical for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2221. Xiangnan turned off the computer on his desk, stood up, and was about to go home for dinner when Zhang Xiangbei burst in from the door. Xiangnan's eyes lit up and he shouted, "Why are you here?" Zhang Xiangbei said, "I just came back from Japan and came directly here." "Damn it, you didn't even go back." Xiangnan opened his eyes wide. "Grandma and the others will be worried, knowing that you came back today, but they didn't see you coming home." "It's okay. Uncle Xiaoshu picked me up at the airport. I drove him here. He knows that I have come to Yongcheng and will tell them when I get back," Zhang Xiangbei said. Xiangnan walked past Zhang Xiangbei, stretched out her head, looked into the corridor, stepped back, closed the door and locked it, turned around. Zhang Xiangbei was already waiting for her. The two of them hugged each other. I don't know how long it took, but bang 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 bang, someone knocked on the office door, which shocked them. The two of them sat up from the sofa like springs. Yin Tao shouted outside the door. "South, south." Xiangnan quickly booed Zhang Xiangbei. Actually, Zhang Xiangbei didn't dare to say anything even if he didn't need to. How could the two of them respond to her or open the door without being embarrassed to death? "Are you mistaken, Xian?" Yin Tao asked Ding Yusong, who was standing next to him. "How is it possible?" Xiang said that when Xiang saw Zhang Xiangbei coming up, Zhang Xiangbei even greeted her, Ding Yusong said. Xiangnan and Zhang Xiangbei were excited, and thought of something together. They reached out and grabbed their mobile phones on the coffee table at the same time, and hurriedly turned them to silent. Almost at the same time that they turned to silent, the screen of Xiangnan's mobile phone appeared. It lit up and kept flashing, and then Zhang Xiangbei's cell phone also lit up. The two of them sat there, looking at each other, not daring to express their anger, and biting their lips hard for fear of not being able to help laughing. The mobile phones of the two people were shining alternately on the coffee table. They looked at the mobile phones without daring to move, as if the mobile phones were charged and they would be electrocuted if they stretched out their hands. The phone finally stopped flashing, and Yin Tao outside the door said, "It's strange, why don't these two guys answer the phone?" Ding Yusong chuckled, "When we meet again after a long separation, we must have been in the world of two people." "Do you think you will hide inside?" Yin Tao asked. Xiangnan shivered violently, his face turned pale, and the door was knocked bang 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 again, and Yin Tao shouted, "South, south." Ding Yusong bluffed from the side, "Zhang Xiangbei, I see you inside, open the door quickly." Xiangnan and Zhang Xiangbei didn't dare to say anything. The two people outside knocked on the door for a while and finally gave up. Ding Yusong said, let's go to the cafeteria to eat." "Don't go," Yin Tao said angrily, "I haven't hit you with the bamboo stick, I will hit you." "Okay, knock me, I'll treat you to a Pizza Hut downstairs, is that okay?" Yin Tao chuckled, and the two finally left. Xiangnan and Zhang Xiangbei let out a long breath, and Zhang Xiangbei hugged Xiangnan again. Xiangnan's back was already cold from the air conditioner, but he was dripping with sweat. The two laughed softly, but they didn't dare to make it too loud for fear that the two guys would still be hiding outside the door and eavesdropping. After clumsily lingering for a long time, the two of them were sure that there was no one outside, and then they relaxed. By the time they walked out of the office, it was already past 8 o'clock in the evening. It was completely dark outside, and the two of them were almost hungry. Xiangnan asked Zhang Xiangbei what he wanted to eat. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Spicy duck feet. It has been a long time since it was so pervertedly spicy. I really miss it. Say yes to the south." The two of them drove to the Xinjian Hotel in Kyonan. Standing at the bar, Zhang Xiangbei looked at the plastic-wrapped menu in the shop. He felt eager to eat everything. He ordered 5 or 6 dishes in one go and wanted to order more. The landlady said, "That's enough, that's enough. Feed the two of you if you can't eat anything." Xiangnan sat at a table in front of the glass. Outside the glass was the road with cars coming and going. Zhang Xiangbei ordered the food and walked over to sit down. Xiang Nan remembered that Zhang Xiangbei had arrived in front of him. Something seemed to happen. They wanted to talk to her, but before they had time to say it, they had more urgent things to do, and then Yin Tao and Ding Yusan came halfway. Xiang Nan asked, "What did you want to tell me earlier?" "Have you ever visited our house?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. Although it was their new house, during Zhang Xiangbei's trip to Japan, Xiangnan also returned to Hangzhou once, but thinking of Lu Ligan being there all day long, Xiangnan felt embarrassed to go there for some reason. Xiang Nan shook his head. "It's so beautiful," Zhang Xiangbei said, "after putting the furniture in, you haven't seen it, but they are all very beautiful." Zhang Xiangbei then described the appearance of the new house to Xiang Nan. Xiang Nan became excited and sighed. "Zhang Xiangbei, is it true? I really want to see it." Zhang Xiangbei chuckled, "I came here just to pick you up and take a look, but I forgot to mention it earlier." "Nervous, how can I walk away? I have to go to work tomorrow," Xiang Nan said. "What does it matter? It's such a short distance, we can go there tonight and come back early tomorrow morning," Zhang Xiangbei said. When Xiang Nan heard it, it was really okay. It was just over an hour away. She said yes, then we would leave after eating. The waiter brought beer and coconut water, and he decided not to drink until he left. Zhang Xiangbei told the waiter, "Please help me exchange the beer for Coke." No, just go ahead and drink," Xiang Nan said, "I'll drive." Xiangnan knew that Zhang Xiangbei would not be satisfied with eating spicy duck feet without drinking cold beer. Xiangnan walked into their new house and was really surprised. She didn't expect that it would be so beautiful after decoration, especially the old furniture they had seen in the Jibao logistics warehouse would be renovated here. After cleaning, the traces of time are still there, but they are shining brightly. Each piece of these furniture has a somewhat weird shape. When they are piled together, it makes people dizzy. But after they are placed in the room, they become very special and very personal. It seems that Lu Ligan's day, that's right. Only people with spatial imagination like Xiao Shu and Zhang Chen can imagine in advance what effect these furniture will have after being placed. The wood of these old furniture is very good, and most of it has not been painted. The luster they give off is the result of the years and countless people who have used them, rubbing them with their hands and wiping them with cloth again and again. The texture of the wood is very hard. Has a subtle and restrained temperament. When placed here, it becomes calm and takes root. The antiquity of the furniture complements the entire newly renovated room, forming an interesting combination with carpets, marbles, simple walls, and fashionable soft furnishings. The simplicity and fashion of the decoration bring out the stability of the furniture, while the old furniture, his silence suppressed his eagerness to try out the new decoration, and he let out a shh sound. Zhang Xiangbei laughed for no reason. He turned to look at him and asked, "Why are you laughing?" "I remembered a funny thing," Zhang Xiangbei said. "What's so funny?" Xiang Nan asked. "Uncle Xiaoshu told me in the afternoon," Zhang Xiangbei said. "That day, after the work was completed, Grandma and Grandma also came to see it. When they saw it, they were unhappy and scolded Uncle Xiaoshu. They said that this new house has a room full of old furniture. How can such a room be used as a new house? The two of them must take money and ask Uncle Xiaoshu to buy a new set of furniture to replace all the old furniture." Xiang Nan chuckled. "What happened next?" Xiang Nan asked. "Later, my father, Aunt Xiao Fang, Uncle Zanzi, your mother, and my godmother all unanimously opposed it. Grandpa said on the side, 'What do you two old ladies care about young people's affairs?' Grandma and Grandma, that's when I gave up." Zhang Xiangbei said and laughed. "By the way, Grandma almost cried that day." "What's wrong?" "She said that when she thought about you coming in without even a new set of furniture, she felt sad and felt sorry for you," Zhang Xiangbei said, and Xiangnan also laughed non-stop. Okay, I will tell them that I like these old furniture very much, more than any new furniture, Xiang Nan said with a smile. The painting that Xiaoshu painted for Xiang Nan and Zhang Xiangbei was hung in the living room. The two stood there looking at it, and both thought of what Zhang Xiangzi said, that Nan Nan was about to climb on Bei Bei's shoulders. Both of them were left. Xiang Nan said, "I'll crush you to death." "Don't be afraid, it's not like I haven't been pressed before," Zhang Xiangbei replied. This pressure has different meanings from Xiangnan's pressure, which is a bit narrow. Go. Xiang Nan's face turned slightly red and she made a soft sound, but she leaned towards Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei hugged her, bent her head, and the two of them kissed. Holding hands, they walked into the bedroom and called Xiangnan softly. The bed in the bedroom was bought by Xiaoshu from Norway, with a strong Nordic style. The bed frame and 4 upright pillars are made of whole square logs. Above the 4 upright pillars, there is a roof with 2 simple cornices. One side of the bed is against the wall, and tents are hung on the other 3 sides. At the head of Lingkong's bed, there is a standing cabinet about 1 meter high next to the bed. The standing cabinet has edges and corners. The overall style and wood of the standing cabinet are the same as the bed, but the cabinet door is very charming. The cabinet door is inlaid with a pattern of iris flowers using shells. The lines formed by these shells emit a faint blue light. The bed and cabinets are all the original color of the wood, and the grain of the wood is very delicate and beautiful. Zhang Xiangbei walked over and stretched out his hand to pull out a small bed from under the bed. The small bed and the big bed were connected together. There were wooden pulleys underneath the small bed. It could be pulled out during the day and pushed back easily at night. Xiang Nan looked very surprised and asked, "What is this crib for?" Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said nothing, but Xiangnan understood immediately and blushed. Needless to say, this crib must be for the baby to sleep in when they have a baby. The baby sleeps next to their bed. They don't have to worry about crushing him, but they can watch him at any time. Those tall and powerful Norwegians did not expect to have such delicate thoughts. Zhang Xiangbei opened all the doors in the house and turned on all the lights. The two held hands and walked around the house over and over again, looking at them and touching them with their hands. Xiangnan even touched those with his face. Furniture and soft furnishings. Xiangnan kept rubbing her body against Zhang Xiangbei and said coquettishly, "What should I do, what should I do, Zhang Xiangbei?" Zhang Xiangbei asked, "What should I do? I don't even want to leave, I want to sleep here," Xiang Nan said. "Okay, then we'll sleep here tonight," Zhang Xiangbei said. "Really?" Xiang Nan asked. "Of course," Zhang Xiangbei said, "this place has been renovated. The air conditioner and bathroom are available. There's nothing wrong with it." "Great," Xiang Nan chuckled, "then we'll sleep here tonight. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you Hoo Hoo, Lemon Stone Spring Hodgepodge, and Book Friends 202202111801384335 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health.